What you're about to hear is an audio adaptation of the Hallmark Channel's Citizen Jane, based on the true crime novel of the same title by author James Delassandro. For narrative coherence and to keep the story moving, certain details have been altered, condensed, or deleted entirely. And now, narrated by Brian Newberry, Project Wasabi proudly presents our audio adaptation of Citizen Jane. The year is 1980, a generation before the internet, smartphones, and Wi-Fi. The city is San Francisco, as in cable cars, the San Francisco Trolley, the 49ers, Haight-Ashbury, and Fisherman's Wharf. At the southern entrance of the Golden Gate Bridge, Pacific Heights hosts no fewer than 3 neighborhood parks, as well as its own public library and a U.S. post office. Known for its charming, small-town atmosphere, Pacific Heights' quiet pace is ideally suited to the retirement crowd. And at a relatively youthful 58 years of age, Jane Alexander is no exception. It's been 3 painful years since she lost her husband Al to a fatal heart attack. She was devastated, and on that terrible day, a part of Jane died as well. Obviously, no one could ever replace her departed husband. But in time, when one of Al's former associates, Tom O'Donnell, asks her out, for once, the lonely widow permits herself this small bit of happiness, and she accepts. As with many first dates, over a casual dinner, the two are selective in how much personal information they share. Jane allows that she is a San Francisco native, a lapsed Catholic who, just after high school, attended Lone Mountain College and subsequently did a brief stint with the Office of Naval Intelligence, a detail which, across the table, hoists Tom's brow. Jane smiles. Not nearly as interesting as it sounds. With one notable caveat, she adds. It was while working for the ONI that she met her husband, Alfred, who, at the time, was a loan officer at a nearby bank. They would meet at lunch for coffee. A puzzled look on her face. Her speaking stops briefly, and for just a moment, she looks embarrassed. And in gentlemanly fashion, Tom fills the awkward silence by talking about himself. Specifically, Tom O'Donnell is an international businessman who invests in South African mining projects which dig for gold and precious metals. As a side hustle, using his knowledge of Africa's travel and cargo laws, occasionally the 52-year-old businessman assists American and European residents in securely shipping their personal property out of the more unstable countries in Africa, such as Rhodesia and Zimbabwe. He's also had half of all his proceeds funneled into a Swiss trust fund, collecting a healthy interest with no taxes. Over dinner, the two laugh easily and listen attentively to each other. 3 nights later, they dine again, and in the weeks that follow, romance blooms. One thing leads to another, and before she knows it, Jane has invited Tom to move in. They share their first fall together as Halloween slides into Thanksgiving, which gives way to the start of winter, Hanukkah, and Christmas. And as always, New Year's Day heralds the coming of the Super Bowl, which sparks another small surprise for the couple. You like football? I like football. With only her Social Security check, Jane is on a fixed budget. And when he learns of her house's mortgage, Tom offers to see if he can get her monthly payments reduced. For instance, if they take out a second mortgage using cash-out refinancing, they can probably get enough spending cash to live comfortably for the next 2 or 3 years. Jane's delighted. Can you do that? Signatures notarized, credit cards ordered, new checks printed. Done and done. 2 more years pass. Companionship, doing the dishes together, watching TV on the couch, and occasionally going out for ice cream. Happier than they've been in ages. Naturally, the two begin discussing the prospect of matrimony. October 21st, 1983. It's a beautiful Friday morning just coming up on 10 a.m. The sea breeze is cool and refreshing, barely a cloud in the sky. The trees unusually green, and everything feels naturally clean and healthy. It's been a while since Jane's spoken with her Aunt Gertrude, and in the kitchen, she picks up the phone and hits speed dial. More of a mother figure, 88-year-old Gertrude Mary McCabe lives in San Jose, California, about 60 miles south of Jane's house in Pacific Heights. And as she did about a year ago, Jane invites her aunt to spend the weekend with her and Tom. They're having a small football party this Sunday, just a few friends to watch the Rams 49ers game. Come on, it'll be like a mini vacation for Gertrude, and then Jane can drive her back either Sunday night or Monday morning. But Gertrude declines with a resolute no thank you. The stubborn octogenarian refuses to be away from home for more than one night, and with a defeated sigh, her niece promises to have her back home sometime Saturday. During this time, Tom O'Donnell is at the opposite side of their house managing their investments. The den is in the corner of the house with north, northwest, and west-facing windows, offering a panoramic view of the enormous blue sky over its dark sea-green horizon. Currently seated at his desk, Tom's light blue business shirt is rolled up at the sleeves, his shirt collar open, no necktie in sight. His boyish, clean-shaven face crowned by a full head of hair, all white and in need of a cut. With a calculator and notepad at his side, and a recently sharpened pencil wedged between his fingers, the E-Trader stares intently at the dancing numbers on his computer screen. Just then, his fiancée enters the room wearing an unbuttoned white sweater covering a peach-colored top over a dressy pair of navy blue polyester slacks. Gliding up behind Tom, Jane smiles warmly.
How's a Tom O'Donnell stock portfolio?
Just as Tom sips his tea while keeping his eyes fixed on the screen.
It is peachy.
She affectionately rubs his shoulders, feels the fabric of his shirt. Bending down, Jane rests her chin on her left wrist and smells Tom's neck as he speaks.
Some CEO gets a bad cough and the company drops 10 points.
It occurs to him Jane's just about to drive down to San Jose, and he asks her, "You sure you don't want
me to ride with you to pick up Gertrude?"
No, you have to pack for LA.
Maybe I'm gone for one day.
Turning back to face his screen, he smiles confidently.
So have you told Gertrude that you and I are a couple yet?
No, but I think she's about to find out.
Ah, is that right?
She kisses the side of his head, stands up straight, and briskly rubbing his shoulders, takes her leave. A moment's pause at the front door as Jane dons her dark blue blazer that matches her slacks, grabs her car keys and beige purse, and, exiting the house, walks out to their 2-year-old Mercedes 500 SL with a new rounded front end. Hitting the road at about 10:15, after a pit stop at the gas station near South Park, Jane gets on the 880 South, and her leisurely drive down to San Jose takes about an hour and a half. It's about half an hour shy of noon when she pulls up in the driveway of 165 Arroyo Way and sees her Aunt Gertrude in the front yard, standing near a ladder erected near the edge of the home's asphalt-shingled roof. Gertrude's overnight bag, not much larger than a couch pillow, currently sits on a tiny brick wall painted blue, lining the flower bed near her front door. Gertrude's glancing back and forth from the top of the ladder down to the open checkbook in her left hand as she appears to be writing a check. Setting her parking brake, Jane notices at the top of the ladder there's a 40-something man, his right hand in the gutter, but looking down at Gertrude, listening attentively as his employer publicly reprimands him.
I need you to get every last leaf out of there because last time you left a few, it rained, the water just seeped right back into my living room. I had a water stain down my wall. And also, I want you to be careful of my azaleas. Last week, you crushed all of them. Have to
Meanwhile,
be careful,
Jane
Virgil,
exits the
please.
vehicle,
I remembered how it pooped in
and
the
after
zone.
rounding the rear of the
Last
car,
week you crushed
smiles
all of them.
tentatively
Have to be careful, Virgil, please.
as she approaches her aunt.
Hi, sweetie.
Hello, my dear.
A familial kiss on the cheek, and Jane picks up her aunt's carryall.
I still wish you were staying through the weekend.
I can't stay the weekend. This guy doesn't listen to anything I say. He's terrible.
At the top of the
I
ladder,
remembered
the
how
handyman,
cool I was.
Virgil, lowers his voice.
Leave me alone, you pain in the...
Ask him if he ever pays attention to what I say.
As Jane
And
carries
I
the
thought-
bag to the car,
He was just,
Gertrude
disturbing,
spots this morning's
which is
paper at her
just
front
a-
door.
And he still is. You know what?
She picks it up,
I forgot I have to stop and drop the newspaper off Next door.
Now standing on the driver's side of the car, Jane puts her aunt's overnight bag in the back seat.
Share the paper with your neighbor?
Saves each of us $10 a month.
Okay.
As Jane gets behind the wheel, Gertrude drops the paper on her neighbor's porch, then comes around, gets in the passenger seat, shuts the door, and buckles up. Gertrude reaches down near her right calf, finds the little switch, and moves her seat forward. 20 minutes later, en route to Pacific Heights, they're in the slow lane going northbound, keeping with the flow of traffic at just over 60 miles an hour. Gertrude's glad the weather is finally starting to cool off, hopes her latest hire, this Virgil, is better with raking leaves than he is with clearing gutters. Jane asks her passenger if Virgil used to be a Ford employee. Ford employee. No, Gertrude says they just moved here recently, he and his wife. Thought he said they were from Florida, but, they're not close. And like anyone in a 50-mile radius, Gertrude well understands the Ford employee reference. Over 2,000 employees were laid off just 5 months ago. Necessary or not, this abrupt shift has taken its toll on the local economy and quality of life. Restaurants and local shops closing, buildings boarded up, thousands of people like Virgil desperate for work, and San Jose's potential increase in crime. And of course, as they both know, Elmwood Correctional Facility is just a 15-minute drive from Gertrude's house. Sadly, the place Gertrude calls home will likely get worse before it gets better. And in the driver's seat, Jane keeps her eye on the road.
I really wish you'd sell the house. I have plenty of room. Or you could get something nearby so I can keep an eye on you.
Check with me when I turn 100.
You know you love this city. I'm serious about this, Gertrude.
So am I.
Gertrude smiles at her. Behind the wheel, Jane smiles too, shaking her head, as the two spend the next hour or so driving north to Pacific Heights. Once back at Jane's house, after pulling into the driveway, they exit the vehicle, and as Jane's retrieving her aunt's overnight bag, a happy-looking Gertrude McCabe is looking over the house in the front yard.
This is just lovely. You see, you just needed a little touch of a man, that's all.
As she enters the vestibule, Gertrude is greeted warmly by Tom, who makes some quick words of welcome before politely returning to the den where his work awaits. Jane gets her aunt settled into the guest room, gives her 3 towels and some extra blankets, which Gertrude uses for a half-hour nap, followed by a refreshing hot shower. Later that evening, she helps Jane in the kitchen as Tom sets the table and pours wine. Then at precisely 7 p.m., the three sit down to a family-style dinner of chicken, corn, and mashed potatoes. But just as napkins go on laps, Jane notices she forgot the best part. But before she can stand, Tom gets up, disappears briefly into the kitchen. He returns carrying a medium-sized bowl, which he places on the table
Gertrude?
near their guest.
Little Jane's magic gravy?
Oh, yes.
Smiling lovingly, Jane watches as Tom takes his seat.
So, when are you two getting married?
The two lovers smile at each other,
Well, it's either that or you're grinning like that because you just won the lottery.
and Tom addresses his elder.
Gertrude, you really have to stop beating around the bush.
Jane sheepishly picks at her corn.
I'm just going to fill you in.
You don't need my approval to be happy. So, you have a special date in mind?
We're just kind of sneaking up on it.
Ooh, sounds more like a burglary than a wedding plan.
And he still is.
A delicious dinner, as flavorful as it is nutritious. After which, the three adjourn to the living room for ice cream while watching the TV show Dallas, hoping to learn who shot JR.
He was right, so it's wonderful.
Later that night at about 11 p.m., well after Gertrude has retired for the evening, the house is mostly dark. Tom's in his den speaking on a cordless phone while standing near a window looking out at the night sky.
Well, the gold futures are all headed in the wrong direction. So what I would like to do is I would like to liquidate, and I would like to apply all of the proceeds.
Pivoting, he leans in for a close look at his computer screen. He puts down his drink, taps a few keys, and, comparing both options, quickly chooses to apply all the proceeds to
the German tech fund that we spoke about.
Tom's drinking bourbon.
So if you could give me a confirming email that you received this, that'd be great. Thank you.
He hangs up, putting the phone back in its charger.
There you are.
Jane walks in with a smile.
Hey.
Doing deals at this hour?
No. Just leaving a message for my guy in Zurich. I was there half a day ahead.
I don't know how you keep track of all these companies and accounts.
So much for early retirement. Takes more work to keep the money than it did to earn it.
Jane considers her own profile.
Mine appears to be shrinking.
I'm gonna have a look at your paperwork before I leave for LA tomorrow. So, how did we score on the Gertrude scale?
She said she's never seen me so happy.
They kiss passionately, holding each other close. When they let go, the two stand facing each other, separated by about 12 inches, as if looking in a mirror.
Tell me this. What is the greenest thing you've ever seen?
Big fat emerald.
A big fat emerald. Tom enjoys her phrasing, but...
No.
A baseball field.
Nope.
A golf green.
He holds up a tourism brochure printed on green glossy paper, and Jane reads the one word in large print.
Ireland. I've never seen Ireland.
The room is quiet, and again he pulls her in close. As each lover's chin now rests on the other's shoulder, their two heads forming yin-yang, he whispers in her ear.
Do you remember my trust fund in Switzerland that I spoke to you about?
Uh-huh.
Well, it's gonna mature in 3 months. And I really think that'll be enough to take care of us for the rest of our lives. So I was thinking we'd head to Zurich and stop by Ireland on the way back.
Again, releasing their embrace, he steps back and, facing her straight on, holds both her hands in his.
Making you happy makes me very happy.
Romantically, she rubs his biceps. They kiss deeply. And once again, she wraps her arms around him, as though he's the only one with a parachute. Eventually, the two get a good night's sleep, and the following morning at 6:45 a.m., with his luggage fully packed, all ready to go, Tom stands in the kitchen wearing his beige trench coat while reading the morning paper. 10 feet away, the two women sit at the table finishing their breakfast. Like Tom, Gertrude's luggage is also packed for her own smaller journey this morning back to her home in San Jose. Noticing her aunt's coffee is nearly finished, Jane lifts the carafe with both hands and pours carefully.
So the football party's Sunday. I can pick you up if you want.
And drive all the way back down to San Jose.
Tom should be back at San Francisco Airport tomorrow, not later than 10 a.m.
You know what? I'm happy to swing by and pick you up on the way back from LA.
You know, you two should spend your time planning a trip somewhere. I hear Ireland is very green this time of year.
From across the room, wordlessly Tom shoots a puzzled look at Jane, who quietly grins and shakes her head like, I don't know.
That sounds like my car.
Tom crosses the room in 3 steps,
Gertrude, it's always a pleasure.
and with one hand on each of Gertrude's shoulders, he plants a gentle kiss on her forehead, and she pats his hand affectionately.
Let me know if you change your mind.
I'm walking you out, sweetie.
Jane stands up and follows Tom out the door.
I had a chance to look at your portfolio this morning.
Anemic, huh?
You're not even keeping pace with inflation. But I'm meeting with a couple investor pals in LA, so I will see what we can do.
Okay.
Beat Henry Carmichael's, numbers on the fridge. My return will get me in at 10 a.m. on Sunday.
You want me to pick you up?
No. You have enough to worry about with the football party.
Greedily, she kisses his mouth, cheek, and neck.
Oh.
Lipstick.
Ready to go, sir?
Acknowledging his driver, Tom turns back with a casually raised hand. Just a minute, as his fiancée quickly produces a napkin and wipes his cheek.
There you go.
Are we good?
Yeah.
Taking the napkin, he too dabs his cheek and drops it in his pocket, as Jane smiles lovingly.
All right, I will call Gertrude when I land just to make sure she didn't change her mind.
Okay.
As he starts toward the car,
I love you.
it occurs to Jane she's still holding his hand,
That's my line.
Okay.
a hand which he lifts to his lips
I love you too.
and kisses. Then runs back to the waiting car, for real this time. Gets in, shuts the door, and buckles his seatbelt just as Gertrude exits the house carrying a mug half full of coffee. she and Jane stand together, watching as the car disappears into the anonymity of the Bay Area's morning rush hour. Going back inside, the homeowner asks her guests if there's anything she'd like to do before their drive back to San Jose. They can go for brunch, or maybe a matinee, or simply a nice drive around the harbor. A drive around the bay sounds nice. And since it's not raining, Gertrude asks if they can go down to the water just to enjoy the sea air. Yes, enthusiastically nodding her head, Jane suggests West Bluff Park down near the bridge, and both agree to dress extra warm, jackets and sweaters. Better to have them and not need them than to need them and not have them. About an hour later, beneath a fragrant Monterey pine tree, there's a grassy area where, about 30 feet back from a guardrail which overlooks the water, sitting alone at a picnic table, Gertrude is warmly bundled and wearing her glasses while reading a hardback book. Though the morning clouds linger, generally the day is as fetching as she had hoped for, and the scene is abuzz with runners and cyclists. At the end of the tiny pier, a dozen or so people doing Tai Chi just above the water. About 50 feet behind her, there's a souvenir shop, from which her niece emerges carrying 2 beverage cups of what Gertrude hopes is hot cocoa. Taking a seat across from her aunt, Jane puts down the drinks and gestures to the book.
Any good?
Shaking her head, disappointed.
Well, about every 10th book.
Gertrude closes it and puts the book aside.
This author recycles her plots.
Yeah, Jane nods.
Well, I'm impressed you can find 9 original ones in between.
Now sitting face to face, Gertrude smiles and holds her niece's hands lovingly.
Oh, honey, I am so glad that you're having a happy life. You know, I used to worry so much about you when you were little because you fretted about everything.
Letting go of her hands,
You worried about the dress you were going to wear
Gertrude gestures as she speaks.
and the lunchbox you were going to take.
I stopped worrying like that when I married Al. He took care of everything, the money, the accounts, a car to drive. I guess I stopped thinking the world would end if I made a mistake. And when he died, it was like the roof fell in on me.
How long have you and Tom known each other? Is it like 10 years?
More like 20. He always had his accounts with Al, and he used to travel all over the world. He was divorced and come back with these really great stories. He saved me. I always thought I was a one-man for life kind of lady, but one night he was teaching me chess, and I just looked at him.
You know, watching most women never find one good man. And you found 2. So come on. Time to take this woman home.
The 2 women stand up, collect their things, and begin walking back to the car.
And no, I am not selling the house. I see that look.
Once inside, Jane says she'll be picking up groceries for tomorrow's football party. Her aunt can come with her if she likes, or Jane can drop her off first and then do her shopping. Gertrude's appreciation is genuine, but this time she'd rather just go home first. In the interest of better scenery, instead of Interstate 880, they opt for the 101, which turns out to be surprisingly free of traffic. And after an hour's travel time, they hit Gertrude's off-ramp just a few minutes after 11 a.m. Now on side streets, zigzagging their way to her aunt's house, Jane says that when they get there, she'll help Gertrude in with her carry-all bag. But her aunt politely declines. No thanks, her aunt says, thoughtful of Jane's offer, but Gertrude carries more than this anytime she goes to the store. Speaking of which, her aunt adds, Jane's got to stock up for that football party tomorrow. And reaching behind the driver, she grabs her overnight bag, holds it in her lap like a pillow, and insists Jane drop her off at the front door. And don't argue, Gertrude's already got her keys out, she'll be fine. A few moments later, Jane pulls into the driveway, puts it in park, and leaves the engine running. After a hug and kiss on the cheek, the passenger exits the vehicle, turns around,
Love you.
I love you. Drive carefully.
Okay.
closing the door with a swift shove. They exchange a quick goodbye wave through the passenger side window, and as Jane starts backing the car out, Gertrude's friendly 70-year-old neighbor steps out of the house smiling while waving something overhead.
Hi, Gertrude.
Hi!
I have the newspaper
Oh,
for you.
Rosaria, you're a doll. Thank you.
Meanwhile, from inside the car, her niece watches the successful newspaper handoff. And as each homeowner makes her way back to her respective front door, Jane gives a friendly honk and drives off. Now alone at her front door, before she can insert her house key, Gertrude's jaw drops as she sees her beloved flower bed looking like it's been trampled through by some wild animal. A complete mess, and her azaleas destroyed, their petals and stems everywhere, with clumps of soil littering the small concrete walkway. And though she doesn't have any direct evidence, Gertrude can well imagine who is responsible.
Virgil. The azaleas.
Unaware of this apparent act of vandalism, Jane Alexander has multiple errands, and first order of business is a stop at Bob's Big Boy for a burger and onion rings, chased with 2 cups of coffee. 2 hours later, back in the Bay Area, her stomping grounds, Jane stops at the gas station and puts in $5 worth, then swings by the post office to buy stamps and pay their light bill, finally making the Rainbow Grocery Co-op the last item on her list, as she'll be getting sausage, cheese, and other perishables. When she gets home, the mailbox is empty. Just as well, no news is good news. At the rear of the car, she pops the trunk and, in small armfuls, begins the process of carrying in the groceries. They had a special on beer, and with Tom out of town, bringing everything in takes her 3 trips. For the moment, the kitchen table is covered with groceries, and Jane says a quick prayer of thanks. One last time outside, rolling up the windows and locking the car, she then heads back inside the house, for good this time. Half an hour goes by, and finally, after getting everything put away, the female head of household rewards herself with a modest glass of red wine. When she sits down on the couch, a quick check of TV Guide tells her there's nothing good on right now, so she just relaxes for a minute. And when she opens her eyes, all the lights are off. It's after sunset, and the house is full of dark shadows. She must have been more tired than she thought. Okay. She stands up, a little disoriented, and turns on a light. She carries her undrunk wine to the kitchen, and after putting it in the fridge, she spots Tom's contact info attached to the door with a tiny yellow happy face magnet. She picks up the cordless phone and dials the phone number of Henry Carmichael. With the price of LA hotels, it was kind of Henry to let Tom spend the night at his place.
This is Henry.
Hi, Henry. It's Jane Alexander. Is Tom around?
He hands his cordless phone to Tom,
It's your sweetie.
who stands
Hey, baby. Excuse me a sec.
and takes it in his guest room.
Okay, baby. Sorry about that. We were just grabbing a bite. How was your day?
It was good. I went grocery shopping. I bought stamps. How was your day?
I drove around all day long, saw some friends, got a little bit of business done, though. Speaking of which, I think we found a way to refinance the house, cut the mortgage payment by about 1/3.
Oh, that's great. And listen, I found tickets to Europe on sale if we fly in September.
I can't wait, baby.
Love you.
Love you too.
A common pastime in this house, Jane walks over to the window and takes in the early evening beauty of the San Francisco skyline. Early the following morning, 60 miles south in San Jose, riding his bike east on 17th Street, the newspaper boy makes a left onto the smaller Arroyo Way. He exchanges a wave with the formally dressed Mr. Durbin getting into his station wagon, presumably heading to church. As the road gradually bends to the right, the Hillbrook High School student thinks of the next address on his route, 165. And when he spots the number stenciled on the curb, the 13-year-old contractor frisbee throws today's edition of the Mercury News, where, with his usual precision, the newspaper finds its mark within 5 feet of the front door of Gertrude Mary McCabe. By all accounts, this quiet October Sunday begins no different than any other.
CBS Sports presents...
Quiet until 12 noon when, up in Pacific Heights, Jane begins welcoming their guests to today's football party, which is clearly off to a festive start. Kickoff comes right on time at 1 p.m., and the party's in full swing with a house full of fun. Just 3 couples, actually, but a stadium's worth of cheer. Her friend Evelyn is more in tune with cooking than football, so the attractive 53-year-old brunette helps Jane prepare munchies. As dwarfed in their official NFL 49ers football jerseys, Carrie and Jason, along with their plainclothes friends Dale and Susie, are in the living room exchanging insightful and reflective commentary. During this time, Evelyn's hubby, Bob, is acting bartender, whose drinks include all the usual suspects, as well as milkshakes and fruit smoothies, with or without a little added cheer. In the kitchen, Jane removes a batch of cheese balls from the oven and brings them to the counter, where Evelyn's working on her own tray of mini pastries.
Yeah, that last batch went pretty quick.
Let's not get them too stuffed immediately.
You know, I'm no good at this. Look at.
And so far, there's just one thing missing. Tom. He was supposed to have landed back... Oh, here he is.
Sorry, sweetie.
Hey!
Plane took off late.
Entering through the house's kitchen door, the traveling businessman carries his briefcase and...
These
a beautiful bouquet of red roses.
are for you.
He and Evelyn recognize each other with a friendly nod. And excitedly, Jane, with her hands still in oven mitts, grabs him around the shoulders and kisses his face
Thank you.
as Tom hands her the flowers.
Gave Gertrude a call, no answer.
Oh, well, maybe she's in the garden. I don't know.
After saving the little packet, she throws out the cellophane, then opens a cupboard and retrieves a fresh vase, which, with her lovely roses, she carries to the sink. Across the room, the hungry traveler hovers ever closer to the fresh-baked cheese balls. Leaning on the counter, congenially, he looks at their friend doing pastries.
Evelyn, how are you? Thank you very much for taking care of things in my absence.
Evelyn shrugs.
I'm trying to improve my cooking skills.
So he grabs one of her pastries. He picks up 2 cheese balls, wait 3, well, a 4th ball just for good measure. Holding his goodies carefully so they don't fall, he looks at Jane at the sink.
Babies, everybody here watching the game?
Yeah.
Excellent.
And with that, Tom takes his goodies to the living room,
Hey, wait.
as Evelyn looks at the absence of cheese balls.
Jane, you left a big hole in your tray there.
However, in the neighborhood of 165 Arroyo Way, San Jose, California, things are not quite as festive. It's well past noon, and seeing the newspaper still at Gertrude's front door, her friendly neighbor Rosaria is concerned. Cautiously approaching Gertrude's front door, she picks up the newspaper.
Gertrude! Gertrude!
When she looks in through Gertrude's front window, a hand flies to her mouth, and trying not to be sick, she runs back to her house and calls 911.
Thank you, baby. Okay.
2:15 p.m., Pacific Heights. Up at Jane's house, everyone's in the living room watching one of the most competitive football games they've seen in years. The phone rings, and Jane walks over to take it in the sitting room.
Hello? Yes, this is Jane.
The voice on the phone identifies himself as being with San Jose police. Says he's sorry to inform Jane that Gertrude McCabe has passed away, but the case is currently under investigation and he cannot discuss details. Completely shocked, Jane ends the call, and from across the room, when Tom looks at her, he can tell something is horribly wrong. In 5 to 10 minutes, the two explain the terrible news to their friends, express gratitude for their condolences, and graciously decline their offers of help to clean up after the party. Two hours later, Jane and Tom arrive as close as they can to Gertrude's house, which is currently surrounded by news media vans, police vehicles, and forensics trucks. They press their way through the looky-loos photographers and reporters, bypassing the yellow crime scene tape. They enter a house crowded with uniformed officers, bunny-suited forensics personnel, apparently dusting for fingerprints, and a photographer capturing every possible angle of the crime scene. At a distance, they see a bald guy with a clipboard who's wearing a jacket and tie. Looks like he's the man in charge. And when he makes eye contact with them, he quickly begins closing the gap. As he approaches, they see he's a strong, barrel-chested man in his 50s, possibly of Latino or Arabic descent. His experienced brown eyes are both inquisitive and doleful. his silver goatee neatly groomed, and his aftershave is Old Spice. He shakes hands with Jane first.
I'm Detective Romer.
Then Tom, who introduces her.
This is Jane Alexander, Gertrude McCabe's niece.
What happened? Please.
She was the victim of a homicide.
Homicide?
When Romer cocks his head in a follow me gesture, Jane and Tom accompany him into the living room. Currently surrounded by half a dozen or so crime scene techs, poor Gertrude McCabe, found severely stabbed and beaten. Now, a cold cadaver slumped over on its side in the living room, in a large pool of her own blood the size of a beach towel.
Who would do this? Who would do this to her?
Maybe you better come, sir.
They all walk to a smaller room where there's a single chair in which the lady sits as the gentlemen stand.
We are trying to piece this together. It appears she was sitting on the couch. She was reading a book. She stopped. She had a little lunch. There's a half-eaten sandwich on the coffee table, and the book is opened up on the couch.
Romer checks his clipboard. No broken windows or picked locks. And general consensus, including Romer himself, is that the most likely point of entry was the regular front door. Good old generic, no frills, just walk right in.
The best we can figure between 12 and 2 on Saturday. Somebody obviously came to the front door. There was no sign of forced entry. Blunt force trauma to the back of her head, and as you saw, there was stab wounds. There was quite a few.
The detective checks his notes. Victim is an 88-year-old woman, stabbed, bludgeoned, and strangled. And that last part, strangulation, is one of the few details Romer and police keep secret from the general public. This includes the press, witnesses, possible suspects, and family members. Withholding certain details is a common tactic used by investigators to help lure or flush out the perpetrator. So as they were speaking of poor Gertrude McCabe, found beaten and stabbed, and with no sign of forced entry, Detective Romer would be remiss if he failed to ask the most obvious question.
Is it likely that she would have opened the door to a stranger?
No, never. She would have given him anything he wanted. He didn't have to kill her.
Gertrude raised Jane. As a matter of fact, the majority of her life she referred to her as Mom.
Well, does she have any enemies? Does she have any disputes?
No. There was 2 handymen. I don't know. She fired.
Standing just behind Jane,
Honey,
Tom puts a small kiss on the top of her head.
I'm gonna run to the restroom. It was a long drive.
As he departs momentarily, he's replaced by a heavyset man standing just outside the door, wearing a blue windbreaker with sleeves rolled up, and a large black camera that hangs from his neck.
But detective, they just called. I gotta go shoot a car accident blocking the freeway. I'll be back later.
Okay.
Romer looks at Jane, still seated.
Ms. Alexander, are you up for a walkthrough?
He offers his open hand,
Please.
and when she grabs it, he helps her up out of a chair and slowly leads her into the kitchen.
What we're looking for is missing objects. Things the killer might have taken.
Jane shakes her head in a mix of disgust, angst, and confusion. As they round the corner, beneath the wall thermometer, Jane fixates on a work desk with its drawer open, above which sits a small paper evidence tag. Aghast, she points at the open drawer.
Where's her checkbook? There's supposed to be a checkbook. She always paid with checks.
We haven't found a checkbook.
Romer makes note, and after leading Jane upstairs, Gertrude's bedroom looks like the rest of the house, ransacked and disheveled. Pictures, knickknacks, mugs, clothes strewn about everywhere, random and broken parts of this, that, and the next thing.
Anything missing here you can tell?
The next of kin shakes her head in frustration.
I don't know.
Everything's a frantic, jumbled mess.
Your aunt, was she getting a little forgetful? Confused, maybe?
No, she was forgetting little things.
We found almost $200 in this bag.
Yes, Jane recognizes the bag and nods in the affirmative.
Emergency money.
But no, she sees another purse unceremoniously crammed full of various jewelry and pearls.
This is not right.
She walks over for a closer look, mindful not to touch anything.
Somebody stuffed this in here. Gertrude was meticulous about her things.
When Tom enters the room, he sees Jane, quietly exchanges a nod with Detective Romer, and listens.
This looks to me like a robbery gone sour.
Who would do this? Who would do this to a harmless old woman?
I've been asking myself that same question since I was a rookie. Can you tell me where you two both were on Saturday afternoon?
Yeah, Jane was in San Francisco shopping for a party. I was in LA on business. I'm happy to give you the ticket information, phone number, where I stayed, etc.
Thank you. We need to clear everyone so I can focus on the perpetrator.
Detective, if there's nothing else, I'm gonna get her home.
Good, good. Now,
Romer produces his business card and holds it in front of Jane and Tom.
if there is anything at all that you can think of that would help.
Tom takes the card and drops it in his pocket.
Will do. Thank you.
Later that night, at her house in Pacific Heights,
As we have been reporting, San Jose police are continuing their investigation into the murder of Gertrude McCabe.
Jane uses the VCR to record every news segment she can find on the murder of her Aunt Gertrude. Surrounded by newspapers and one magazine, she sits cross-legged on the bed with a pen and notebook and the 2 remote controls. Tom enters carrying a tray with a bowl of oatmeal, a mug of tea, and a half package of crackers.
Hey, babe, why don't you take a break?
Tom puts the tray down on her night table.
No, I have to write it all down. All of it.
He aims the appropriate remote at the TV and turns it off.
You need to eat something.
The only thing I need to do is make this monster pay for what he did to her.
Tom sits gently on the bed before her.
I know.
Gertrude was my life growing up. She raised me. Mom died. She was the one who raised me. She did my schoolwork with me. She took me to the movies. No child ever had a better mother. I should have made her sell the damn house and live with us.
Well, there's no way you could have forced her to do that. That wouldn't have made her happy. Eating what you wanted her to, when you wanted her to.
No. I should have taken care of her. I should have looked after her. I'm gonna get this murderer. It's the last thing I do.
Okay. Come here.
He stands up at the side of the bed to get closer to her. He pulls her in and hugs her, pressing her head against his chest in a way without words that says he loves her.
Come here.
2 days later at San Jose PD, after being booked into the holding cell, handyman Virgil Jackman finds himself sitting in an interrogation room. His yellow faded short-sleeve cotton work shirt highlights Mediterranean skin, dark curly hair, and increasingly impatient brown eyes.
I want to know why I'm here. Can you tell me why I'm here? I patched a leak in the roof.
Standing up,
I cleaned some leaves out of the gutter.
he slashes the air with angry gestures.
She paid me, I left, and that's all.
Detective Romer points at the chair.
Sit down.
And reluctantly, the handyman complies.
Did you get along with Mrs. McCabe?
Yes, I got along with her.
Listen to me, Mr. Jackman. Virgil, someone killed that old woman. Maybe it was someone who thought they got shortchanged.
Nobody shortchanges me.
Yeah, I sense that about you. Sit tight.
Leaving the angry handyman to cool his jets, Detective Romer exits the room, ensuring the door locks behind him. A quick glance through the one-way mirror at his detainee, Romer heads back to the elevator and hits the button marked 2. On ascent, Romer thinks of how he wants to approach Mrs. Jackman. A moment later, the large metal doors open as usual to Romer's working paradise, an administrative cube farm of mostly light blue hues. As he starts walking to his own workspace at the far side of the second floor, he can see at a distance Virgil's wife Cheryl, right where he left her. Seated in the guest chair next to his desk, the sullen 45-year-old brunette slouches even more than her tired denim jacket. Romer thinks of her husband's angry temper, complemented by Cheryl's active disinterest. A match made.
Mrs. Jackman, your husband is in a holding cell downstairs.
Before taking a seat, he nods to the brown folder in his left hand.
It says in this file that you and he ran a retirement home in Florida.
Unimpressed, she glances up at him.
And that Virgil was fired for getting funny with the old folks' money.
Virgil can get funny with anything he puts his hands on.
Slowly sitting down behind his desk, Romer looks at Cheryl Jackman directly, face to face.
Did Virgil have a beef with Mrs. McCabe?
She looks away and wordlessly down at the floor.
You listen to me. If Virgil is responsible for Mrs. McCabe's death, I don't have any issue with you. But if you cover up for him, you are going down too.
He worked extra for that old lady. Then she wouldn't pay him. Said he messed up some of her flowers. He's got a mean streak, Virgil.
Was Virgil responsible for Mrs. McCabe's death?
And again, Mrs. Jackman takes the fifth. But with or without Cheryl's cheery disposition, Detective Romer has a third guest to speak with regarding a different piece of evidence. Opening his desk, he removes an expensive-looking silver dinner plate wrapped in plastic with an evidence sticker, and leaving Cheryl to consider whether or not she's comfortable defending a killer. Romer heads down to the visitor room where Jane Alexander and her boyfriend, Tom O'Donnell, are waiting.
Hey, Bob. Jane.
Please tell me you have good news.
Take a look at this. You recognize it?
Yeah. This was a plate Gertrude's brother gave her when she graduated.
What are the chances that she would have given it to a worker in lieu of payment?
No, not in this lifetime.
Okay, come with me.
They follow Detective Romer to a lobby of 4 elevators, where he approaches the one car labeled Police Use Only and hits the button. And when the 3 people enter, Romer inserts his key immediately beneath the down button, gives it a quarter turn clockwise, and puts it back in his pocket. A brief descent. Feels like they've gone down 2 stories, though above the elevator door, the indicator shows only from first floor to basement. When the door is open, the investigator turns the group to their right and leads them down a brightly lit hallway. They stop at a large window on the left, with a type of thin wooden ledge at the bottom where one might put a pen or a set of keys. In the room on the other side of the glass, they see a perturbed-looking brown-haired 40-something man in a yellow work shirt seated at a table. No need for the placard affixed to the glass. With the man's lack of eye contact and circumstances as they are, it's obvious they're looking at the seated man through a one-way mirror. Still holding the plastic-wrapped dinner plate, Romer gestures with it to the man in the yellow shirt.
Can you identify that man?
Yes, he was her handyman, Virgil.
We found this plate in the trunk of his car. His wife said he did it. We haven't found the checkbook yet, but the bank said the last check to clear was to Mr. Jackman, and it was cashed just a few hours after your aunt's death.
So that's it. It's over.
That's it. We're gonna ask the DA to indict. We cleared the crime scene, so if you want to get your aunt's possessions, you go right ahead.
Okay, so they can find their own way out. Nothing left to do here. One last look through the one-way at Virgil Jackman. The couple exchange a nod with Detective Romer, and pensively make their way through the brightly lit hallway back to the elevator. Outside, the morning air is cold, and Jane could kick herself for thinking a long-sleeved turtleneck would suffice down here in San Jose. Not shivering, just cold enough that she's uncomfortable. She's glad they parked in the sun. And getting in the passenger seat and buckling her seatbelt, she quickly adjusts the heater setting even before Tom starts the engine. While they're here in San Jose, they may as well pick up Gertrude's possessions now. There's a couple empty boxes in the trunk, and if Jane never sees this place again, it'll be too soon. Half an hour later, inside Gertrude's home, Jane tells Tom, of course, he's welcome to anything he might have use for, as Jane mindfully ambles through the house, collecting those little things important, mostly for keepsake. Oh, and quickly putting on Gertrude's old green and blue sweater, she enjoys the faint smell of her aunt's fragrant star azaleas. There's an old brown armchair Jane had always wanted, but thinking of her own place in Pacific Heights, she has no idea where she'd put it. Probably wouldn't fit in the car, and it really doesn't seem worth the effort of renting a truck. Like Jane, Gertrude was an avid reader, and if there was one genre for which they both shared a common affinity, it was poetry. And especially seeing the name of local celebrity Lawrence Ferlinghetti, she grabs her aunt's old copy of The Secret Meaning of Things. Then she picks up Mind Breaths by Allen Ginsberg and Canary in a Coal Mine by James Delassandro. Though not usually a big fan of murder mysteries, hoping to better know her aunt's joys and interests, Jane takes all 6 Ellery Queen mysteries and tops it off with Fatal Vision by Joe McGinnis. She puts all the books into a cardboard box she brought from the car. And that's when, on the top bookshelf, she notices a small framed picture from her own high school days. Standing near the dining room table, an affectionate arm around Gertrude, who is seated, both smiling in happier times. She looks at it for a moment, then slides it between the books for safety. The following day, she joins Tom for a seaside run through that same area of West Bluff Park where she and Gertrude spent their last morning together, sipping mocha and talking about that book she didn't like. It feels to Jane like it was years ago, but it's only been a few days, and she can't stop thinking it over and over and over. Police say there was no forced entry because the killer was someone Gertrude trusted. Okay, that would make sense, except for everything else that does not make sense. Considering his skill set as a handyman, Virgil would make an even worse burglar, never mind murderer. And running on the hard-packed sand which separates the picnic tables from the water, just for a moment, her thoughts conjure up a macabre bit of dark humor as Jane envisions her aunt as the stern employer she was, now, even from the grave, yet again, hounding maintenance man Virgil for his incompetence. Oh, Virgil, what type of burglar are you? I was still wearing my 2 diamond rings when the police found me. Why leave behind my jewelry box? It had thousands of dollars worth of necklaces, bracelets, and earrings. You saw I had over $150 in my lockbox. A qualified burglar would have recognized the value of actual cash in hand. I'm sorry, Virgil, but you are just not qualified as a suspect in the case of my murder. Funny or not, humor is rooted in truth. Gertrude was wearing her diamond rings when police found her. As for her house, TV's still there, stereo, cached, thousands in jewelry, and regardless of who killed her aunt, all of this prompts Jane to focus on the one item that was taken.
You know what I can't figure? Why would Virgil take Gertrude's checkbook? It just doesn't make any sense.
Maybe he wanted to paper the town with bad checks and then split.
Paper the town with bad checks and then split. Jane considers this.
I mean, think about it. It'd be a lot easier than pawning her jewelry.
Jane's beeper chimes, and recognizing Detective Romer's phone number, she and Tom run to the nearest payphone to call him back.
Hello?
This is Jane Alexander.
Jane, Detective Romer here.
While she's speaking, her lover sits on top of a picnic table with his feet resting on the attached bench and quietly listens to Jane's side of the conversation.
Is there an update? I haven't heard anything.
Well, there's been a development. It seems that Virgil Jackman was in Monterey doing landscaping at the time of the murder. The homeowner alibied him.
Why would his wife say he did it?
She was lying. She's done it before, just to get even with him for hitting her. So the only thing we can charge Virgil Jackman with is stealing the silver plate.
Okay, so what's next?
Jane, we've cleared everyone who's ever worked for your aunt. Delivery men, former handymen. We're at a dead end. I'm sorry, Jane.
Dejected, Jane hangs up.
So they cleared Virgil.
Yeah.
She walks over and sits on the bench near Tom's feet.
It's a cop's job to find the killer.
He kisses her gently on the head.
It's my job to take care of you.
Strokes her hair. January 16th, 1984. With a current workload of 7 other homicides, 3 of which in as many weeks, it's been over a month since Detective Romer has heard the name Gertrude McCabe and preparing for his retirement coming this summer. Today, he meets the new man he'll be training to take over his cases. New to homicide, but not law enforcement. Coming over from narcotics, Jack Morris is a well-regarded lawman who took down the leadership of a motorcycle gang even after they detonated a bomb under his car while it was parked in the driveway of his home. But as Morris has never actually worked homicide, he'll spend the next few months learning the ropes.
Detective Romer.
And hearing his name, Romer turns to see approaching from the elevator an average-looking man, 5 to 7 years his junior, neatly dressed in a tweed sport coat with a pale blue work shirt open at the collar and dark gray relaxed fit pants. His thinning hair groomed into a short business-style haircut, currently making the transition from brown to silver. On final approach, the friendly 40-something gives Romer the glad hand.
Jack Morris.
The veteran detective smiles at
My replacement.
and after a firm and respectful handshake,
Welcome to homicide, Detective Morris.
Detective Romer recognizes the brown folder Jack Morris holds in his left hand, and when he gestures to it with keen interest.
Oh, you got a chance to look at the McCabe files.
The new man hands it to him.
Everything in the file.
Yeah, and opening it,
He read everything in the file.
Romer reacquaints himself with murder victim Gertrude Mary McCabe.
Well, good luck with it.
He immediately raises the cover sheet on the right, flips through paper copies of the crime scene photos. Oh yeah, there's handyman Virgil Jackman.
I've seen some dead ends in my day, but this one takes the cake.
Then he closed the stack on the right, and oh, what's this? A document subpoena. The detective reads a small yellow form.
You want Jane Alexander's bank statements and phone records.
Confused, looks at the younger man.
You don't buy the robbery theory?
But standing relaxed with his hands in his pockets, Morris says nothing, just smiles. Detective Romer closes the file, puts it on his desk, picks up his mug, and walks over to the water machine.
You do know we cleared Jane and her boyfriend months ago. She was in San Francisco, he was in Los Angeles. They talked on the phone that night.
Read that.
I heard you don't talk much. Your captain of narcotics said you were the best interrogator he's ever seen. How does that work if you don't talk?
Me talking ain't the point.
Me talking ain't the point. That's pretty damn cocky. Cocky, but correct. And thinking on this, the elder concurs with an agreeable nod. Then he grabs the file and puts it firmly in Jack's hand, with an encouraging pat to his arm. Welcome aboard. In the weeks that follow, the two lawmen try to identify and tie up loose ends on an average of half a dozen or so cold cases, including that of Gertrude McCabe. As homicide's newest member, Detective Morris gets instruction on the unit-specific procedures, forms, agency contacts, and other resources uniquely used by homicide detectives. In March 1984, with the approval and consent of Detective Romer, Jack Morris contacts the FBI's Behavioral Science Unit, BSU, in Quantico, Virginia. And while the Bureau's been practicing and refining the art of psychological profiling for years, only very recently has this service been made available to city police departments. In a lengthy correspondence, the Bureau requests a detailed dossier of the victim, a description of her daily routines and habits, the exact geographical location of her murder, whatever position the body was found in, every crime scene photo taken, street maps, as well as aerial photography of possible escape routes the suspect may have used to flee the scene of the crime. Follow-up queries from Behavioral Science Unit focus on the victim's practice of hiring strangers to work on her home, as well as the fact that she kept large amounts of cash on hand and that she owned over $2,000 worth of jewelry. Once BSU produces a meaningful profile of the suspect, they'll send it to San Jose PD as soon as possible. In the weeks that follow, Detectives Romer and Morris canvass the neighborhood around Gertrude's house. They speak with the specific cab drivers who had driven Gertrude to and from the store, the children who sold cookies to nearby homes, whatever local vagrants they could find, and of course the newspaper boy. Using the victim's address books, telephone logs, and check records for reference, Detective Morris examines the records of hundreds of known assailants in the San Jose area, none of whom were found to have any contact with Gertrude McCabe. July 13th, 1984. The department throws Detective Romer a heartfelt and festive retirement party at one of his favorite restaurants, Wings Chinese, over on Commercial and 7th Street. It's been there forever and it's got a great bar. After a fond farewell, officially, the following Monday morning, Jack Morris is lead investigator on the Gertrude McCabe case, as well as half a dozen others. Meanwhile, for the past 8.5 months since her aunt's death, Jane Alexander has been trying to salvage some bit of normalcy in her life. At her home in Pacific Heights, the 61-year-old San Francisco native sits at her dining room table with an empty box, as well as scissors, wrapping paper, glue, paper doilies, and half a dozen felt-tip markers in assorted colors. As is her practice throughout the year whenever the odd moment presents itself, currently, Jane prepares the decorations on one of the many elaborate Christmas boxes that, in 5 months, she'll be sending out to family and friends abroad. As Tom enters carrying a pitcher of something cold enough to accumulate condensation.
You realize it's July, right?
He fills her glass, which still has ice from the previous drink, and not for the first time, he teases her gently about preparing Christmas boxes so far ahead of time.
Probably start wrapping these Christmas presents after Labor Day, and you can still make it.
No, quietly obsessing, as she always does, Jane cannot let go of it. It's one of many little things that never sat right about her aunt's murder.
There's something missing, Tom, and it's about the checkbook.
I really think we ought to take that trip to Ireland. Let the police do their job. You're gonna go crazy if you keep this up.
You can't go anywhere right now.
I'm not gonna allow whoever did this to make you a victim as well. I'm not. I get it.
Tom leaves the room momentarily, and seated at the dining room table, Jane can hear him speaking with someone at the front door.
Hi, Detective Morris, San Jose PD. Can I come in, please? Yeah.
Tom returns with a second man in tow, an average-looking, clean-shaven white guy wearing a sport coat and a pastel green button-down shirt, open collar, no tie, over comfort-fit dark gray slacks. Tom gestures a flourish toward
Jane Alexander.
Jane stands up and extends her hand.
Detective Morris, San Jose Police Department.
Hi.
And after shaking hands with Jack Morris,
Jane, Jack.
Hi.
the lady of the house remains on her feet, and so do the men.
So what happened to Detective Romer?
He took a job in private security. I'm the new guy. I just transferred in from narcotics.
Still standing, Jane looks inquisitive.
Oh, so it's your first homicide.
Vale's giving the new guy a cold case.
Cold case. Okay.
And finally, Morris pulls out a chair and takes a seat. So Jane sits too.
Cold case. That's encouraging.
And noticing that frosty pitcher on the table.
Detective, can I offer you a glass of lemonade?
Yes, thank you.
Tom leaves it right there and goes to the kitchen for a glass. Now that they're both seated, Jane and Jack Morris face each other across the dining room table.
Kind of ran into a dead end on the robbery angle.
Tom returns with a clean glass.
Well, yeah. Of course he did.
Which he fills with lemonade.
What robber's gonna throw her stuff around and then leave behind her cash?
And hands it to Detective Morris.
Jane's been reading a lot of Gertrude's old mysteries.
Oh, that's really good. Nice and tangy.
With the only 2 chairs at the table currently in use, Tom stands immediately behind Jane.
So, do you have any leads, Detective?
I'm gonna look a little closer to home. Friends, acquaintances, family members.
Tom rubs Jane's shoulders.
I'm her only family member, and her friends are older than the automobile.
You don't have any financial dealings that Mrs. McCabe would have had? Loans, private party purchases?
I borrowed $25,000 from her for house repairs, and when I tried to pay it back, she just tore up the check.
Appreciatively, Jack Morris looks at his glass.
Boy, that is really good. It's a lot better than the stuff in the can. Do you know what Mrs. McCabe's estate was worth? Houses, insurance?
Well, it's all tied up in the homicide, even the insurance.
Oh, right.
I have a feeling you already know this, Detective.
I've been looking at it. I think it's worth about $1 million.
Probably.
Just for a split second, he looks straight at Jane. No emotion, no accusation. He just looks at her.
Oh, one more thing. We're fingerprinting anybody who was a regular at the McCabe house. Would you two mind coming down tomorrow to be fingerprinted?
Another 120-mile round trip on the car. Looking up, she exchanges a quick glance with Tom.
Not a problem. Of course.
Great.
Jack Morris puts down the glass.
Lemonade was spectacular. Thank you.
And with that, the investigator stands and walks directly to the front door.
I'll see him out.
As Tom abruptly follows after him. Early the following morning, as requested, once again, Jane and Tom make the drive down to San Jose PD, where they spend 20 minutes to half an hour waiting, filling out paperwork, and finally having their fingerprints taken. Out in the hall while Jack Morris is waiting, he's approached by one of the uniformed cops who had responded to the McCabe homicide 9 months ago. A thin, 20-something black officer with a buzz cut and a tattoo on his forearm of an anchor and chains. And even though Hands and Fingerprints has their door closed, the beat cop lowers his voice for discretion.
You know the killer wore latex gloves. There are no prints.
Sometimes you have to stir the pot.
A short while later, out in the hallway, when they exit Hand and Fingerprints, the two witnesses reconnect with Detective Jack Morris.
I want to thank you both for coming down.
Of course.
Who shows them a light blue folder.
Let's get this file from the FBI Behavioral Science Unit. They profile crimes, difficult ones, without that many clues.
Okay.
I shouldn't be doing this, but I would like to share some of this with you. You mind sitting down?
Sure.
Jane and Tom use two of the chairs just outside the door, while Jack Morris grabs a third chair and turns it around so he can face them. The 40-something investigator dons a pair of glasses, opens the folder, and begins reading.
It's probable the killer or killers were known to the victim and acquainted with her normal routines. The lack of a forced entry and trauma to the back of the victim's head indicates she trusted her assailant enough to permit him entry and turn her back.
Or maybe she turned her back to run?
The detective gently raises an index finger. Hold that thought.
Since investigators have yet to identify missing objects other than the victim's checkbook, the ransacking may be viewed as an attempt to mislead investigators into thinking the crime was a robbery.
Jane looks visibly shocked.
The repeated attempts at killing the victim, which included multiple stab wounds and bludgeoning, suggest the killer was inexperienced in the commission of a violent crime. The most likely motive for the murder of Gertrude McCabe was to gain the proceeds of her estate. Do not eliminate the possibility the killer is a woman.
Are you insinuating I killed my aunt, the woman who raised me?
I'm just reading from the report.
But Tom O'Donnell stands up, clearly frustrated.
Okay, you know what, Detective? This is ridiculous. First of all, Jane doesn't need anyone's money.
Removing his glasses, Detective Morris looks up and gives Tom his full attention.
I've got a trust that I'm about to cash that will more than take care of us financially, and she's very aware of that. Not to mention the fact that she was in San Francisco at the time of the murder.
The international investor offers Jane his hand.
You know what, baby?
She takes it and stands up, and they both stare at Jack Morris as Tom continues.
I think the detective here is not interested in solving a murder. I think he's interested in clearing a case.
Jane's eyes well with tears, not of misery, but of anger.
You're wasting your time, detective. And meanwhile, there's a murderer getting away with it.
Honey, it's time we get you an attorney.
And still holding her hand, Tom leads her out the door. Half an hour later, at Denny's near the 101 freeway, few words are spoken over their early lunch, and the drive back to Pacific Heights is even quieter. They arrive home at 2:15, and just when it looks like things can't get any worse, about an hour later, Tom receives an emergency message from one of his business partners in Geneva, where it's approaching midnight. Tom explains there's a significant procedural concern with his fellow investors, and he needs to be in Switzerland by tomorrow, not later than 2 p.m. local time. Now, aided by Jane in the bedroom, Tom's packing his brown canvas duffel bag, and while clutching a cordless phone between his shoulder and his chin, he tries to allay the concern of his rattled colleagues as he wraps up the conversation.
All right, let's make sure that happens ASAP. Okay, bye-bye.
He hits the phone's red button and puts it back in the charger, as of course Jane is dealing with her own nightmare at the thought of being a suspect in the murder of her beloved aunt. Riddled with fear, she looks up at her fiancé as he packs.
Tom, I can't really believe I had anything to do with it.
I have a bad feeling that Detective Morris doesn't quite see it our way.
But no, frantically, she shakes her head.
They can't arrest me for something I didn't do. It's crazy.
They're giving a lot of credibility to that FBI report. You know, they said she was killed for the proceeds of her estate. Do not rule out the prospect the perpetrator might be a woman.
I'm scared.
Tom zips up his carry-on bag.
Baby.
And faces Jane directly.
Look, I'm gonna go to Switzerland.
While gently holding her shoulders.
I'm gonna take care of business, and I'm gonna come back, and we're gonna figure this out. I just need you to be strong right now. We're gonna be together forever. I just need to know that you're okay. Your finances are okay. The house is taken care of.
I love you so much.
I love you too. It's gonna be fine.
Just after 6 p.m., Tom's taxi arrives, and he gives her one more kiss before running out to the waiting cab. Later that evening, at about 9:30, Jane's in the living room watching TV while nursing a cold glass of lemonade. She left the phone on the charger. Quickly getting up, she carries her drink into the kitchen where she answers the phone.
Hello?
Jane, Jack Morris. Not calling too late, am I?
No, it's okay.
I was wondering if you could do me another favor. Could you and Tom come back down to San Jose?
Tom just left for Switzerland.
Why? What do you want?
Need you to take a polygraph.
A polygraph? What fresh nonsense is this?
You want me to take a lie detector test?
I just need to clear everyone I can. I'm trying to refocus the case.
This is insane.
Come down tomorrow. Get a good night's sleep.
And ending the call,
Yeah, I'm sure I will.
Jane just stares at the phone in disbelief. She's done nothing wrong, but the thought of a polygraph makes her squeamish. And with Tom out of town, Jane calls their attorney Jim Rode, and on the following morning, as arranged, the two meet up in the parking lot of San Jose PD. A thin, black leather briefcase in hand, Jim Rode is a tall, clean-shaven white guy looking sharp in a dark gray, double-breasted suit. After a few questions, they go inside and walk down a long hallway where, at a distance, they see the lead investigator with his back turned, standing near an open door. Casually, Jack Morris turns, making eye contact just as they approach, and the attorney speaks up.
I'm Jim Rode, Jane's attorney.
The two men shake hands.
I'd like to see the questions that you're going to ask her.
Morris glances in through the open door,
Chris,
where a taller 30-something man emerges with a clipboard, which he hands to Jim Rode. Out come the glasses, and as the attorney reviews the questions carefully, his angry client glares at Detective Morris. Shortly thereafter, Jane finds herself in the hot seat, and polygraph technician Chris Rollins hands her an inflatable circular hose, sort of like an inner tube for a bicycle tire, only smaller. He asks that Jane wrap the pneumograph around her upper torso just under her armpits, and of course Jane complies. Next, the technician tapes little wires to her fingertips, then returns to his desk, now seated behind Jane, where he powers on the polygraph itself and begins the exam.
Is your name Jean Alexander?
Yes.
Do you live in Pacific Heights?
Yes.
Did you enter the home of Gertrude McCabe on October 6th of last year?
No.
Did you learn of the death of Gertrude McCabe by phone call?
For whatever reason, Jane does not respond.
Did you learn of the death of Gertrude McCabe by phone call?
Yes.
While all this is happening, attorney Jim Rode and Detective Jack Morris are in the next room, quietly watching through the one-way mirror.
Did you plan the murder of Gertrude McCabe with anyone prior to her death?
No.
And as he asks these increasingly bizarre questions, polygraph examiner Chris Rollins monitors the recording pen's zigzagging meaningful lines on that slowly moving roll of graph paper on which he occasionally makes notes.
Did you take the checkbook from Gertrude McCabe's home?
No.
Did you assist anyone in planning the murder of Gertrude McCabe?
No.
Were you present at the home of Gertrude McCabe at the time of her death?
No.
Did you murder Gertrude McCabe?
No.
The examiner removes the tiny wires from her fingertips and says she can take off the pneumograph. He asks that she remain seated, and someone will be with her shortly. And in about 30 seconds, she's joined by her attorney, Jim Rode, and Detective Jack Morris.
You didn't do it.
Of course I didn't.
I was pretty sure you didn't.
Why did you put me through that?
Had to make sure you had no involvement before or after.
Her attorney, Jim Rode, speaks up.
Are we done here?
Sure.
Collecting her purse and coat, she stands up and sneers at Detective Morris,
What's your next step?
who replies in a respectful tone.
Same old step. Catch a murderer.
Whatever. Jane gets out of there as fast as her legs will carry her, hoping to be home when Tom calls. Assuming he hadn't called already while she was out, he doesn't know about the polygraph. When she gets home, there's a message waiting for her on the answering machine. Gertrude's friend and newspaper exchange neighbor, Rosaria Cannon, expressing condolences for the passing of her friend, Gertrude McCabe. But nothing from Tom. So she waits. When 6 o'clock rolls around, it's now been 24 hours since Jane's heard from Tom. This is not like him. This is unprecedented. Just how much trouble is he dealing with? Going over last month's phone bill, she sees 3 telephone calls to their old friends Joel and Shelley Markham in Las Vegas.
Hello?
Hi, Joel. It's Jane Alexander up in San Francisco.
Yeah. What can I do for you?
I'm just wondering if maybe you heard from Tom lately? He's in Switzerland, but has he called you at all?
No, not in a while. Not since he left.
If he calls you, can you just ask him to get in touch with me?
Sure, no problem. Take care.
Thank you.
The doorbell instantly puts Jane on high alert. Stealthily approaching the front door, the 61-year-old homeowner uses her peephole and, instantly recognizing Detective Jack Morris, unlocks the door and opens it.
Jack.
You got some coffee? I got something you need to see.
She invites him in, and the two walk into her kitchen. He sees a small table with 2 chairs, but remains standing while Jane starts boiling some water, quickly produces a jar of Folgers instant coffee and 2 mugs. Leading him to the kitchen table, as she takes a seat, he stands just long enough to remove from his pocket some paperwork, which he unfolds and flattens out on the table for Jane's review.
Look at that.
Then across the table from her, Jack takes a seat.
It's a car rental receipt with your name on it.
Yesterday, I flew to Los Angeles. I rented that car, and I drove from the airport to San Jose. I marked the mileage at the bottom.
672 miles.
Now,
Then he hands her another document.
look at this receipt.
That's a name she knows very well.
Henry Carmichael.
That's the same car, same license plate.
The investigator leans forward and points at the top right section of the rental receipt at the car's pickup and drop-off dates. Specifically,
Rented the day that your aunt was murdered.
the date stamp reading October 22nd, 1983.
Look at the mileage.
You're telling me Henry Carmichael killed my aunt?
No. Henry Carmichael rented the car. But he never left Los Angeles. I checked.
I don't understand.
Henry Carmichael gave the car that he rented to someone who didn't want his name on the rental car receipt. Tom O'Donnell drove to San Jose. Tom O'Donnell murdered Gertrude McCabe.
Have you gone completely mad? I've known this man for 20 years. I've never even heard him raise his voice.
The mileage points to Tom.
What possible motive could he have?
The oldest motive in the world. Money. Your aunt's estate was worth almost $1 million.
No, Tom is not related to Gertrude. He doesn't get a penny.
Frustrated, Jack takes off his glasses, leans back and starts rubbing the ridge of his nose, and looks at Jane.
I knew this was going to be difficult for you.
No.
Standing up.
I'll tell you what's difficult. My aunt is dead.
She points an angry finger at Jack.
And since you can't nail it on me, you're going to nail it on someone else who had nothing to do with it.
The detective reaches into his sport coat's lower left pocket, takes out a photo, and puts it on a table before her.
Something else I want you to look at. This is a picture of a tissue that was found in your aunt's house. Didn't match anything she had.
The investigator points at a tiny pink spot in the photo.
It's also a lipstick smudge. And we checked around, and it didn't match anything that she owned. And you just think about this. Check it out.
Abruptly, Detective Moore stands.
Where did they find it?
And leaning on the back of the chair in which he had just been sitting.
They found it stuffed down her throat.
He speaks to her directly.
In a crude attempt to keep her silent.
Good night, Detective.
Leaving the photo on the kitchen table, Jack knows better than to let the door hit him on the way out. Standing alone in the kitchen with this other name jumping around in her head, she grabs the number off the fridge and puts in a call to Henry Carmichael in Los Angeles. No, that's insane. There's no way Tom killed her Aunt Gertrude. Friendly pleasantries, and Jane asks if he's heard from Tom in the past 24 hours. No, Henry says. Should he have? She says she just spoke with a detective from San Jose PD, and after briefly explaining the nature of his visit, Jane says there's some confusion as to who it was that drove 600 miles last October during Tom's visit.
This detective said you rented a car and gave it to Tom.
I put the rental car on my credit card because I owed Tom money. You know, he spent all day going to banks trying to refinance your house for you. I can't believe this, Jane.
Strange of Henry to get so defensive, since Jane doesn't believe it either. But having verified Henry rented the car for Tom, she's already got what she needed, and she's more eager to get off the phone than she is to argue. De-escalating the conversation's tone, she thanks Henry for clearing up the rental car mystery, and adds that if he hears from Tom, would he please ask him to call her. She bids Henry good night and ends the call. Hoping it's Tom, she answers the phone. But to her disappointment, it's an automated call timed presumably for when people are home.
Pacific Gas and
Electric says she's delinquent on a payment? No, Jane made that payment in person. It was $54 and change. Tom rounded up the dollar amount and made out a check. And as she always does, Jane hand-delivered it herself last Friday. She calls PG&E customer service, always fun, only to learn her check was returned for insufficient funds. Insufficient funds! And the following morning, Jane goes to her bank in person to resolve what's apparently some type of misunderstanding. For the past 2 years, investment banker Sheila Walker has worked with Jane and Tom, and with the former now in her office. The 49-year-old tousled blonde that shuts the door for privacy sits at her desk and logs on to the bank's computer. When Sheila asks, Jane says the check was made out to PG&E, and she recalls the exact dollar amount was $55, just like the speed limit. At Sheila's invitation, Jane steps behind her desk and watches as the banker pulls up the information on her screen. Why couldn't Jane pay her light bill?
Sorry, Jane. You don't have enough to cover it.
To Jane's dismay and shock, she learns she cannot cover a $55 check.
How can my balance be this low? I'm never overdrawn. I've been in this bank forever.
Sheila begins typing, and when the information appears, even to Jane's untrained eye, she sees too many dollar amount fields in zero and a few negative numbers in red.
You weren't aware that Tom transferred a large sum before he left?
He was just managing some stocks.
Well, he transferred the money somewhere.
Gobsmacked, poor Jane, literally, continues gawking at the screen.
What about the line of credit on my home?
Tapping quickly on her keyboard, Sheila pulls up the appropriate information.
Looks like you're maxed out, plus you have a balloon payment due. Sorry.
Not knowing where to turn next, her panic quickly increasing, Jane returns home. She removes 3 envelopes from her mailbox, and unlocking the front door, she reviews each item as she enters the house. Oh no, another delinquent notice, this time from Nordstrom, a junk mail item promoting home air conditioning, which she already has, and another item with no return address, but she well recognizes Tom's printing, and careful not to damage its contents, she opens the envelope quickly and begins reading.
My dearest Jane, when I returned to Switzerland, the authorities were investigating my former business partners for some of our transactions. It's a mess. My partners tried to blame me. There have been threats, and I fear it could be dangerous for anyone I'm close to. It pains me more than you will ever know. But you must not try to contact me until this mess is cleared up. I only want what's best for you, and I miss you more than you could imagine. I will never forget our magnificent years together. All my love, Tom.
The letter clutched absently, she finds herself seated at the kitchen table, weighing the evidence, trying desperately to balance her faith with her doubts. As much as she loves and respects her fiancé, his claims are becoming increasingly difficult to believe. She takes inventory of the few things she knows with certainty. 1. Her aunt was brutally murdered. 2. Tom cleaned out their account without ever telling Jane. 3. Tom packed his bag and now he's nowhere to be seen. Police are looking for him. None of which means Tom killed her Aunt Gertrude. Police are looking for him. And she remembers that little glossy photo Detective Morris left. She thinks of the lipstick smudge. Couldn't decide whether to keep the picture or throw it out. So she stands up, opens the kitchen drawer, grabs the lipstick photo and heads to the bathroom, where she collects every lipstick she can find and puts them in a small paper bag. Carrying everything into the dining room, she opens the blinds and turns on all the lights, then clears away all those supplies and crafts for her special Christmas boxes, with one exception. She's got a large, spiral-bound sketchbook, 2 feet wide by 2 feet long, 50 pages of plain white paper, useful for charcoal etchings, creative doodles, and all points in between. Locating its first unused sheet, Jane opens the spiral-bound book completely, back cover meeting its front, and with some bit of effort, lays the large item on the table. Now standing over a plain white paper surface, she empties the little paper bag of the 4 lipsticks, which she puts behind and to her left. Then she takes the paper bag and sets it to the right. She places the photo on the sketch pad's top left corner.
This is a picture of a tissue that was found in your aunt's house.
Using one of her own 4 lipsticks, she draws a line on the paper beneath the photo, which she compares with the smudge in the picture.
It's also a lipstick smudge.
And when it doesn't match, she drops the lipstick in the paper bag, and on that same large sketch pad, moves the picture 3 inches to the right. Reaching behind her, she grabs the next lipstick and repeats the process. Another line beneath the photo, which she compares with the smudge in the picture, which again does not match. Again, she puts the lipstick in the paper bag, moves the picture 3 inches to the right.
And we checked around, and it didn't match anything that she owned.
Reaching behind her, she grabs bachelorette number 3, draws a line under the picture, and this time it matches. That is, Jane's own lipstick matches that little smudge the homicide detectives saw on the napkin.
Found stuff down her throat in a crude attempt to keep her silent.
Going to sit down, she misses the chair, and without injury, ends up on the floor, sitting cross-legged, elbows on knees, sobbing uncontrollably, with her face buried in her hands. following afternoon, Detective Morris makes the drive up from San Jose. From inside the car, he sees 7 to 10 people in her front yard, standing among furniture, books, bookshelves, lawn equipment, and various appliances. He parks a few doors down, exits his vehicle, and begins walking toward the yard sale. After making eye contact with the female homeowner, Detective Morris keeps his distance and waits politely as Jane speaks with a tall man about a chest of drawers she's selling.
This is an antique. It belonged to my aunt, so 200 is the best I'm gonna do on that. Okay, so thank you very much.
With hands in his pockets, Jack steps forward in a relaxed manner.
I got a message you wanted to see me. Something important?
Yep.
You moving?
No, the bank foreclosed on my house. I owe more than it's worth, so they're just gonna take it off my hands.
She gives him the follow me gesture.
What's that type?
And asks her friend Evelyn to keep an eye on things.
Ev, you can keep an eye on this, right?
As she leads Detective Morris into the house. Inside, they see at least 3 other customers. A middle-aged blonde woman examines a standing floor lamp, and another couple just disappeared into the den. The investigator follows the homeowner to a hutch desk flush against the wall near a window. Reaching into one of its cubby holes, she removes a sandwich bag, which he can see contains...
This is lipstick.
The lipstick.
I kissed him when he was going to LA, and he wiped it off and put the tissue in his pocket.
She hands it to him.
This is the exact tube.
Then she holds up that small, glossy picture he had given her.
It's very clever.
She looks at Jack Morris and nods respectfully.
Giving me the photo.
And he responds in a sympathetic tone.
Some people you push, some people come by their own design.
Opening a drawer, she takes out her proverbial Dear Jane letter and hands that to the detective.
I got this from Tom on Christmas Eve. He says he's in Europe. He's still in the country, isn't he?
Jack gives her a wry smile.
I checked every airline and cruise ship from Canada to Mexico. And unless he swam, he's in the U.S. somewhere.
Jane nods, and her face sours.
I feel like the world's biggest idiot.
She takes a seat on a small wooden chair next to the hutch desk. As, still facing her, Jack sort of half leans, half sits on the back of a couch.
You said it yourself, Jane. He never gave you any reason to mistrust him.
She looks up at Morris.
And that trust has taken everything from me.
Even with this, I have no evidence. There is one thing that I can do. You fill out a complaint for him taking your money, and I will put it out on the wire. And when we find him, I will interrogate this guy for murder. This guy's dangerous, Jane. There's no telling what he's gonna do when he finds out we're on his trail.
Okay.
She stands up.
You arrest Tom O'Donnell. I can take care of myself.
Later that evening, in a far less affluent part of town, indeed, some might call it a bad part of town, there is an affordable apartment for rent. Jane's interested, and her friend Evelyn comes with her to check it out. The landlord can't be here tonight, but he gave Jane the key and said just lock up when she's finished.
It's kind of small.
And the two step into a convertible studio with a small, partially enclosed alcove as a bedroom. With a large purple sofa beneath the only 2 windows. Bathroom privacy afforded by a second shower curtain.
Kinda small.
And a modest card table that wobbles in the center of the kitchen. Very slowly pivoting 360, Evelyn sizes up this small abode. Walking over to the kitchen sink, Jane tries the faucet.
You know,
Evelyn sidles up on her right, and the two turn around, leaning the smalls of their backs against the kitchen counter.
Maybe it should come with a shoehorn or something. What do you think?
Jane smiles at her new home.
It's cozy.
Evelyn holds up a flattened hand.
Wait a minute. Come on, you're not seriously thinking of living here.
It's very cheap by San Francisco standards.
Well, how about free? Come live with me and Bob.
Ev.
I can't let you stay here.
Ev, you're a great friend. But I dug myself into this hole. I'm digging myself out of it.
No joke. When she says she'll dig herself out of it, Jane hits the ground digging. And 2 days later, at the new apartment, while moving in her furniture and personal belongings, Jane gets a page from one of 4 employment services where she's got her cover letter and resume registered. When she returns to call, they ask if she'd be interested in a temp-to-hire position as office receptionist at a rest home in West Oakland, just over the bridge. And delighted, Jane blurts out absolutely yes. That Thursday afternoon, she arrives 10 minutes early for a 2:30 orientation with staff supervisor Emily Janning, a tall, chronically nervous-looking administrator in her late 60s. Exiting her office, the two are now standing at the receptionist's desk. By all appearances, the residents look happy and well cared for by a friendly and attentive staff. Some playing board games, others watching TV. One man seated in a chair takes his medication and washes it down with presumably water in a white cup. As Jane glances up at the enormous ceiling, the indoor setting suggests it might once have been an elementary school, what with its long tiled hallways, cork bulletin boards, and glass display cases. The staff supervisor's long-sleeve pea-green sweater is unbuttoned over a green and blue paisley blouse. Her auburn wig complements her red-brown lipstick. And after some standard interview questions, Emily Janning lays her cards on the table.
Honestly, when I spoke to the agency, I was a little concerned.
Why?
Well, the job recruiter said you hadn't worked in, what is it?
Nodding, Jane acknowledges.
It's a little while.
Oh.
I worked on Wall Street.
Makes me wonder why they sent you here.
Something about nobody else wanting this job.
Okay. Do you mind if I ask you why you requested the night shift?
During the day, I'm tracking a killer.
And with that, Jane takes a seat and answers the phone.
Cathedral Hill Rest Home, how may I direct your call?
Spots a pen near a message pad and grabs the former. Okay. And a duly impressed Emily Janning returns to her office and leaves the door open. By her third day, night actually, Jane is comfortable with most of the routine, and the tasks on which she has yet to be trained seem well within her learning curve. Pros and cons to working night shift. Pro, Jane gets to work on her own, unsupervised. Con, she gets to go home all by herself at 1:30 in the morning. Actually, on the cable car, no one's ever alone. Rather, it's where she gets dropped off, at the ominous Gramercy Alley, where there are no people in sight, nor animals, and very little ambient lighting, which, combined with her lack of familiarity with the area, she may as well be wearing dark sunglasses after midnight. Of course, she can see things like street signs, fire hydrants, and trash dumpsters. It's those indeterminate shadows and unidentifiable shapes that give her pause. Glancing behind her, she remembers Detective Morris's words.
This guy's dangerous, Jane. There's no telling what he's going to do when he finds out we're on his trail.
Halfway down the alley now, she feels as though she's being watched. When she looks back, about half a block up, another cable car passes. But otherwise, nothing. And again, facing forward, she continues walking. With absolutely no traffic anywhere to be seen, neither vehicular nor pedestrian, she steps away from the building's locked exits and garbage dumpsters and walks cautiously through the center of the empty car path. Another glance behind her, desolate, and she turns back to face forward. And there's a man right here. She sidesteps right into him and they both jump. They each have a panicked look on their face, but say nothing. And trying to regain her composure, Jane continues down the alley, leaving behind a tall man who now unlocks the door of a yellow VW Bug, gets in and closes it, and starts up the engine. Back at her building, never mind waiting for the elevator, Jane nearly flies up the stairs, and her figure is still shaking with the keys. She enters apartment 2 and locks herself in. Whew. No telling what he's going to do when he finds out we're on his trail. Damn it, why is it the victims are always in fear of the villains? Jane's still rattled, her aunt is still dead, police have done nothing to find the killer. Damn it! Oh yeah, Jack Morris is great for telling Jane what she can't do or what she shouldn't do, while Jane in return tells Jack what he should do. For the past 2 months, Jane's campaign has involved a steady stream, a little over a dozen so far, of letters and greeting cards hounding San Jose police to stay on the Gertrude McCabe case, with a specific focus on their chief suspect, Tom O'Donnell. Don't let it go cold. Currently, Jane's angry and sleep will not come to her, and as tomorrow is her first day off, she makes the decision to stay up late, put on some herbal tea, and write in her journal. She writes about the progress, or lack of it, in Jack Morris's investigation of her aunt's death. And gradually, as she writes at this late hour, another one of Jane's O'Donnell poems begins to take shape. And after working its words for 20 minutes or so, Jane comes up with the 4th such verse in the past 2 months. That San Jose murder last autumn is not someone just playing possum. Detectives don't use their numerous clues. If they did, by now they'd have caught him. So she's no Mary Oliver, but it makes its point, and just maybe it'll light a fire under the keister of Detective Jack Morris. Now sitting at her kitchen table, she copies her most recent poem to a sheet of paper. She puts in an envelope that she addresses to Detective Jack Morris at San Jose Police Department, 200 East Santa Clara Street, San Jose, California, 95113. The following morning, for the first time in a week, she awakens without benefit of an alarm. Breakfast is instant coffee and a grilled cheese sandwich. And opening her blinds to let in extra light, she begins re-reviewing her own trove of evidence. In the past 9 months, she's stockpiled several boxes of information on the death of her Aunt Gertrude. Police reports, receipts, telephone bills, flight schedules, and all manner of data which she spent the better part of this morning rereading, and the bulk of which now takes up nearly every flat surface in the apartment, and some overflow casually scattered about the floor. Tired of unfolding and refolding her AAA street map of San Jose, Jane flattens it out and semi-permanently puts it up on the wall above her desk so that it's at a glance accessible anytime she wants to look at it. And this concept Jane likes very much. Mindful of her printing, she uses little pink sticky notes to show the exact distances between significant locations. To the right side of the map, for easy visibility, she sticks Jack Morris's business card so it's parallel with San Jose PD to its left. And running out of adhesive tape, she uses tiny nails to affix half a dozen crime scene photos, Jane's got her sources, down the right side of the map. Having run out of room, Jane continues on the adjacent wall, to which she dedicates nearly 24 newspaper clippings. She continues in this fashion until every wall in the apartment is covered in neatly organized at-a-glance evidence. And while it wasn't specifically her intent, Jane can't help notice the similarity to what she sees in TV cop shows. During this time at San Jose PD, the U.S. Postal Service has delivered to Jack Morris another offering from Jane Alexander. This one's an 8.5 by 11 manila envelope from which the investigator removes a large piece of craft paper folded in half. Opening this enormous greeting card, Jack is presented with a simple spread of 9 photos of the victim, Gertrude McCabe, from years past, 2 of which include a 9 or 10-year-old Jane Alexander. The pictures are all arranged around the edge of the large craft paper, whose center contains the simple printed question: who killed Gertrude McCabe? Oh gosh. He opens the bottom right drawer of his state-issued metal desk, pulls out Jane's phone number, and calls her. Morris feels for Jane. He really does, and he understands her frustrations. But his own precious ego notwithstanding, what she's doing is potentially dangerous to her own self.
Hello?
Jane, Jack Morris.
Have you been getting my letters?
You mean roses red and violets blue, Tom O'Donnell's laughing at you? We got a whole pile of them.
A whole pile of them. Standing in her studio apartment, closer to the kitchen, as she speaks with Jack, Jane stares at that professional portrait of Gertrude from 1976. And as for that pile of letters he's getting,
You can expect more.
Again, this is not about Jack Morris.
Jane, listen to me. If Tom is in touch with his friends and he finds out you're trying to track him down, that increases the chances of him coming after you.
Okay, let's look at it this way. If Tom O'Donnell kills me, he'll be easier to catch. You can expect more letters.
She hits the red button, ends the call. Detective Morris looks at his phone, shrugs, hangs up. The following Thursday night, 6:15 p.m. at Theodora Rest Home, carrying her purse and umbrella, ready to go home for the night, Staff Supervisor Emily Janning steps out of her office.
Good night, Jane. Try to keep awake.
Okay.
A friendly smile back at her boss, who departs down the hallway. Jane gets back to her data entry. She hears the elevator close in the distance.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
She thinks of Jack Morris's warning about the possibility of Tom and his friends finding out that she's trying to find him.
That increases the chances of him coming after you.
Is someone tracking Jane's movements? She works through the end of her shift on edge, but without incident. And for the next few nights, she sleeps with one eye open and a chair against the door. Tuesday afternoon, Jane's breakfast is coffee and a bowl of cereal. She's thinking about her call earlier with Joel Markham, who said they hadn't heard from Tom since he called. She gets Joel's number off the phone bill and calls him back. It occurs to her what he said was they hadn't heard from Tom since he left.
Hello? Is this Shelley Markham? This is Jane Alexander.
Oh, hey. Joel told me you called a while back. How you doing?
Did the cops ever find that guy who killed your aunt?
No. They didn't. I'm just wondering if you've heard from Tom.
Not in a while.
Do you remember when you saw him last?
Not entirely truthful. Jane embellishes.
He did mention that he might swing by Las Vegas and see you and Joel on his way to Europe.
Yeah.
Nails it. Yes.
Yeah. He stayed with us on his way to Sweden or something.
Switzerland. You saw him on his way to Switzerland.
Yeah. Hey, I gotta get to work. You take care, okay?
Okay.
Jane hangs up, and steadying her fingers, she's so excited, she puts in another call to her favorite detective.
Jack, you have to take a trip to Las Vegas.
Not a bad place to hide, Vegas. Blend in with all those tourists.
The investigator doesn't have enough evidence for murder. However, thanks to Jane's extensive research and meticulous documentation, Jack Morris can easily make a case for fraud and embezzlement against Tom O'Donnell. The following morning, he contacts Las Vegas PD and requests a bolo be on the lookout for Tom O'Donnell. 4 days later, February 8th, 1985, with barely a cloud in the sky, it's a beautiful sunny morning just shy of 10 a.m. in the gated swimming pool area of the Flamingo Hotel in Las Vegas. Not counting staff and waitresses, there's about 70 hotel guests, either lounging, swimming, or just lollygagging in the water, or in transit to and from the hotel. Positioned just a few steps from one of the gate's 4 self-closing doors, stretched out comfortably on a wicker chaise lounge, the wanted man himself sips a soda with ice out of a white cup. To help obscure his face, Tom O'Donnell sports dark green aviator sunglasses. He wears a loose-fitting tan-colored button-down western shirt with the plaid across the shoulders, over faded black cargo shorts and blue plastic flip-flops. While he's not exactly violating the dress code, as the only man who prefers street clothes over swim trunks, he blends in about as inconspicuously as a cockroach on a white rug. Even worse for Tom. At the far side of the swimming pool, he sees 2 uniformed officers step through the gate and begin showing a picture to interested hotel guests. Making their way methodically from one chaise lounge to the next, cops appear to be asking follow-up questions, smiling and nodding their heads attentively. They're far enough away, Tom can still exit here on this side of the pool area without looking suspicious. And picking up his towel and his soda, that's exactly what he does. As he enters through the double sliding glass doors, the spacious, air-conditioned lobby smells of popcorn and electricity. It occurs to Tom he'll need to avoid his room until the heat blows over. Glancing back, he's relieved he's not being followed. Then as Tom exits nonchalantly through the building's front main entrance, he's abruptly greeted, some might say intercepted by, Detective Jack Morris, who, in the stately manner of a limousine chauffeur, politely opens the back door to the waiting squad car.
Hello, cowboy.
With the warrant obtained by Jack Morris for fraud and embezzlement, the suspect Tom O'Donnell is arrested and read his rights by Las Vegas police officers. Suppressing his laughter, visiting dignitary Jack Morris shares the back seat with Tom for his ride back to the Clark County Detention Center, 330 South Casino Center Boulevard.
You've been bad, Tom, stealing Jane's money.
Sullen, Tom O'Donnell stares out the passenger side window.
I didn't steal anything.
Then there's the other matter. You know, Gertrude McCabe.
And you wonder why I left.
They wonder why you left? Au contraire, Tom. And of course, that's the beauty. Jack Morris, now literally breathing down his neck, knows exactly why you left, and he looks forward to proving it in the court of law.
Is there anyone competent there where you work? Anyone at all, Detective?
I found the car your buddy Henry rented for you. The one with all those miles. If you can explain that, this'll all go away, Tom.
If I was fleeing a murder charge, why would I move to Vegas where anyone with a brain could find me? Besides, if you had me on murder charges, you wouldn't be arresting me for fraud. That's for sure.
This probable murderer's clever retorts notwithstanding, Tom is indeed extradited to California, where, foregoing his right to a speedy trial, he instead pleads guilty to the lesser crime of defrauding Jane Alexander. Forms filled out, attorneys consulted, yada yada yada, and his actual sentencing is scheduled for, not without evident irony, February 14th, 1985. And before Jane knows it, it's a cold, sunny Valentine's Day at the San Jose courthouse, as she and her friend Evelyn are escorted by Detective Jack Morris into the gallery where they can sit comfortably and observe and try not to laugh and point when the suspect is, and Jane sees him right now, very much the man in form, sporting the classic short-sleeve orange jumpsuit. Oh, how sweet. And no, he's not just standing in the fig leaf position for modesty's sake. In fact, his wrists are shackled, as they damn well should be, thinks Jane. It's 1 minute shy of 10 a.m. as those having business with the court arrange files, sign forms, and generally get situated in their respective locations. Seated at the defense table next to his lawyer, subtly, Tom O'Donnell chances a look at Jane, and when she glares angrily back at him, the convicted fraud turns forward to face the bench, where Sheriff Deputy Isaac Bowman stands and speaks clearly.
All rise.
Wearing the iconic black robe, the Honorable William Wilson, a tall, bespectacled 60-something Caucasian, enters the courtroom, steps up to the bench, and once he takes his seat,
Please be seated.
everyone else does too, as Judge Wilson looks at the defendant.
Thomas O'Donnell, you pled guilty to 1 count of fraud for the theft of monies from Jane Alexander. Do you have anything to say before sentencing?
He stands up.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm innocent. Jane Alexander actually requested that I invest a sum of money for her, which I did. It wasn't until I paid myself a fee that she filed fraud charges against me. I pled guilty under duress because of false information provided by Miss Alexander.
Wrong speech, Mr. O'Donnell. What I was looking for was, I'm sorry I stole her money and ruined her life. Perhaps 4 years in the state penitentiary will give you some time to mull it over. Bailiff
And with a touch of yes victory, in the gallery, Evelyn puts a hand on Jane's shoulder. Morris discreetly grabs Jane's hand.
Counselor, would you approach the bench, please?
And as the bailiffs escort the handcuffed Tom O'Donnell out of the courtroom, Jane turns to face the detective.
But we still can't charge him with murder.
DA needs more evidence. Right now, Tom's got an alibi for everything.
And looking up at the investigator, Jane speaks with absolute conviction that she's going to get justice for Gertrude if it kills her.
I'm gonna get justice for Gertrude if it kills me.
The following morning, Jane tracks down the second recognizable number on her phone bill, area code 415-555-6127. Tom's niece, Margaret Wilson, is his only living relative here in the Bay Area. Jane hasn't even seen her since Christmas before last, but she knows Margaret waits tables at Sebastian's, a trendy little alfresco sidewalk cafe in the Haight-Ashbury district. And her next day off, that Tuesday, she takes a pleasant ride on the cable car, a 10-minute walk through pedestrian-friendly, tree-lined streets, and arriving just after 9 a.m., she can smell the delicious aroma of coffee, eggs, and bacon. It's warm for the season, and in typical San Francisco fashion, nearly all the outdoor tables are occupied by a tapestry of varying ethnicities, genders, colors, heights, and weights. Jane spots a muscular 50-something guy with a towel over his shoulder, smartly dressed in a black button-down shirt with its sleeves rolled up to the elbows, and gray work slacks, standing at an empty table, quickly loading a large plastic tub with dirty dishes and remnants of discarded food. A lean figure, maybe 32-inch waist, on the left of which is his pager, and on the right, a length of chain draped to his hip pocket.
Excuse me, do you know where Margaret is?
Over there.
And as soon as he points, Jane recognizes her, collecting menus from 3 seated women at the last table before you get to the crosswalk. And Jane smiles to the man bussing the tables.
Thank you.
Then turns at a distance to see her friend's eye contact and friendly recognition.
Margaret.
The two meet halfway and stand facing each other near the curb.
Jane, how are you? I heard what Tom did taking your money. Can't say I'm surprised.
Why's that?
Well, my husband and me gave him money to invest. We never got no statements, nothing. He said...
The waitress stands with hands on her hips.
Nothing. He said the company went bankrupt. Big lie that was.
Big lie that was. But Jane had never heard of any of this. And with that, Margaret turns on a heel and heads back.
Margaret, I was looking at my phone bill and I noticed he called you the morning my aunt was murdered.
He called to say she died and that he was coming into some money so he could finally pay us back. I gotta go.
Desperate, Jane grabs her arm.
Are you sure that was the morning Gertrude was killed?
Checks herself. Immediately lets go.
He called you 3 times that month.
I'm pretty sure. There was a football game on TV, 49ers and Broncos. I really gotta go, I'm sorry.
And this time, Jane does not stop her. Instead, she goes to the nearest payphone, drops some coins, and for brevity's sake, she focuses on the exact words she wants to say to...
Homicide Detective Morris.
Jack, Tom called his niece and told her Gertrude was murdered an hour before we knew she was dead. And he told her I was coming into Gertrude's money, okay? So there's your motive.
She's sure. That's the only call he made to her during that period.
No, he called her 3 times that month, but she's pretty sure because she remembers the football game being on.
I'll call the DA and let him know.
True to his word, Detective Jack Morris formally refers his case to the office of the district attorney. Specifically, the assistant district attorney, 37-year-old bureaucrat Andrew MacArthur, who kicks the file back to the investigator with an insufficient evidence memo. And Jane Alexander hits the ceiling. Insufficient evidence? Insufficient evidence? After all the information they've provided, what does this guy want? A signed confession? Seeing no hope in relying on the system alone, Jane continues collecting evidence, as much as she can lay hands on. Over a year and a half goes by, all the while calling this ADA MacArthur's office every other month, always referring to Jack Morris's correspondence. And usually speaking, her calls get nothing more than voicemail. Wednesday, August 5th, 1987. Jane decides to speak with this MacArthur man face to face, and asking around, finding his office location, time he goes to lunch, okay, stalking, she's finally able to locate him at the spacious employee lunchroom at the San Jose Superior Court campus, where 24 or so professionals and blue-collar workers use the soda machines, fill their coffee mugs, microwave popcorn, and just sit and eat with each other. Then at the far side of the expansive room, seated at an orange booth near the window, Jane sees the assistant DA, a diminutive, clean-shaven white guy with glasses and stringy red hair, alone eating a salad with a soda on his right, and she approaches his table.
Mr. MacArthur, I'm Jane Alexander, remember?
Disinterested, he regards her briefly and returns to his salad without offering the lady a seat. So Jane stands in place and speaks while looking down at him.
I'm Jane Alexander. Did you review Detective Morris's note on Tom O'Donnell's niece?
The note says Margaret Wilson was pretty sure about the date of Tom's call. I can't convict on pretty sure.
You're a pretty good prosecutor, right? What is it, 82% convictions on major felonies?
A lady who does her homework.
Yeah, well, somebody has to.
And as another forkful of leafy greens goes in his mouth.
Batting average like that should earn you a big fat salary in private practice, right?
He looks up at Jane.
I'm gonna need more than this.
And I'm gonna need a prosecutor with some guts. You don't happen to know where I can find one, do you?
She turns around and walks off.
Joyce Saldano.
Then stops in mid-stride, 3 feet from the door.
The guy in my office calls her the queen of lost causes. She'll try any case if she believes in it.
Glances back at the seated man still grazing.
Thank you.
And departs. In her phone call with Jack Morris, Jane learns Joyce Saldano is well regarded, considered good people. Jack knows Joyce. They see each other occasionally at law enforcement conventions and judicial symposiums. He asks Jane if she'd like him to make introductions. And the following Monday, Joyce Saldano returns her call. And after 10 minutes of Jane answering questions and Joyce taking notes, the 39-year-old prosecutor invites Jane to meet her for an early dinner at Castanola's restaurant on Fisherman's Wharf. Located about 4 blocks east of Ghirardelli Circle, Castanola's is an open-air steak and seafood eatery on a second-floor wraparound terrace encircling the building. Arriving just as the sun's beginning to set, Jane tells the host she has a meeting with
Jane.
Joyce Saldano. He hands her a menu and she walks over to the table where Joyce is now standing up. At a height of 5'7" on an athletic 130-pound frame, the Italian-American's shoulder-length tousled hair is a salon-crafted windstorm of auburn and brown, all of which complemented by a type of deep bronze olive skin complexion for which most fashion models would gladly sell out their parents.
Joyce Saldana.
Hi.
The two women shake hands and sit facing each other across the table with a view overlooking the rows of shops and restaurants lining Jefferson Street, the iconic pathway for walking through Fisherman's Wharf.
Do you mind if we get straight to the point?
Please.
Frankly, this case stinks. There's no physical evidence. Not a strand of hair, a fingerprint, nothing. No murder weapon, no witnesses.
Jane's heart drops.
Cases based on circumstantial evidence get won all the time, and every bit of this points to Tom O'Donnell.
Yeah, which Joyce ignores.
Then there's the motive. I searched every murder conviction in this county, going back 30 years.
Yes, nodding her head, Jane's done the same research.
There's not one case of a suspect murdering someone so that someone else could collect the victim's estate.
Unless they're in it together. We're just off to a rousing start.
Tom's friend Henry still claims that Tom went to Vegas and was back in the afternoon. Too early to have driven to San Jose and back.
Trying to contain her anger, Jane feels her cheeks start to flush. Another damn bureaucrat who won't take the case.
Personally, Miss Saldano, I would charge Henry with perjury and accessory to murder.
Jane stands up, collects her purse, turns on a heel.
That's exactly what I intend to do.
Whoa, what? Jane stops and looks at her.
I thought you said you weren't going to take the case.
I said the case stinks. I didn't say I wasn't going to take it. Why don't you sit down and have some dinner? I have a few questions to ask you. Please, sit down.
Jane sits down.
Fire away.
Jane, if we fail, Tom O'Donnell is a free man.
But he isn't free yet.
But across the table, Joyce's expression suggests Jane didn't get the memo.
No. No. Don't tell me.
Model prisoner. First offense, gets out this week. He only had to serve 9 months of the 4-year sentence.
Jane is now visibly angry.
See, this is why they call it the criminal justice system, because it's criminal the way they administer justice. Just don't ask me to hide from him.
You know, Detective Morris tells me that you're quite adept at finding the little pieces of this puzzle. I sure could use some more pieces.
Monday, August 31st, 1987. Tom O'Donnell's early release date, 9 a.m. San Jose Courthouse. Detective Morris leads Jane to a tiny office where he opens the door and turns on the lights. And as they enter, she sees a simple workstation setup, a desk chair pushed in, and a PC monitor on the surface of an otherwise completely empty desk. No desk phone, no outbox, no keyboard. A similar desk next to it, and when Jack turns on the monitor, she sees a live feed of Tom O'Donnell, again in a prison jumpsuit, this time dark blue, seated at a metal table directly across from an empty chair. Confused, Jane shakes her head.
I just don't understand the purpose of this.
With a confident smirk, Jack stands with his arms folded across his chest. He nods toward Tom on the monitor.
I got Tom to agree to one more interview. Told him if he checks out, that he never has to talk to me again.
And she realizes, across the table from Tom, that empty chair is for Jack Morris. And Tom never has to speak to him again? She looks up at Jack.
But you're lying, right?
Me? Lie to a murderer and his attorney?
And the investigator's smirk widens to a smile. And as he pulls out the chair, Jane takes a seat watching the screen. He gives an encouraging pat to her shoulder and closes the door as he leaves. The investigator carries a folder of documents down the hall, and as he approaches interview room 9 Charlie, he exchanges a nod with the posted sheriff deputy.
Morning, Detective.
Who swipes his card and opens the door. As Jack enters the room, a seated Tom O'Donnell says nothing. Standing behind him is a short, thin, clean-shaven, 50-something white guy in an expensive dark blue suit. And as he reaches toward Jack,
Charlie Vaughn.
The two men shake hands.
Mr. O'Donnell's attorney.
As the suspect remains silent. Briefly glancing at the camera, the detective walks around to his side of the table as the attorney continues speaking.
I want to remind you, Detective, that we're here voluntarily.
Jack wordlessly drops his folder on the table and takes a seat directly in front of the suspect. The investigator puts his pen down at his far left. Then, opening his folder, he removes a stapled pack of documents, which he sets to his left next to the pen. Quietly watching, the suspect says nothing as Jack removes another stack, this one unstapled, and tapping its edge on the desk to square its corners. He puts the stack directly in front of him, then closes the folder and sets that to his right, or Tom's left. And now, with everything arrayed before him just so, Jack rests his clasped hands on the desk and looks amicably at Tom O'Donnell. But in response, Tom's tone is sarcastic, dismissive, as he gestures with a flattened hand over the documents on the table.
Anything I can help you with here?
I'd like to clear up this Gertrude McCabe stuff.
Not as much as I would.
The document stacked directly in front of Morris. He pokes it curiously with his index finger.
It says, here, you drove to Vegas, correct?
A few doors down the hall, Jane watches the monitor and can hear every word as Tom tries to explain how he put over 650 miles on that rental car.
Reasons, Detective. I drove to Las Vegas. I drove up and down the Vegas Strip. I was waiting for a woman to get off work. For personal reasons, Detective.
The investigator looks through the stapled stack of pages, then shrugs theatrically.
I can't find her name.
You're gaming us, Detective. Mr. O'Donnell has refused to supply her name. The lady was married.
The hotel where this rendezvous took place.
You remember every hotel you've ever been in? Every restaurant? And yes, I did. I paid cash. I didn't want to hurt Jane if she stumbled across a credit card statement.
Was it a big hotel, a little hotel?
I was meeting a woman in a hotel room, Detective. I was more interested in her than the decor. I would appreciate it, Detective, if Jane Alexander didn't find out about any of this. Despite making my life miserable, I actually care about her.
I'll just keep that between the two of us.
In the other room, Jane gasps. She made his life miserable? So angry she can only laugh as she shakes her head at the utter gall of this dirtbag. She watches the screen as the interrogator shows Tom another document.
This is a rental receipt. It's the car Henry rented and you drove.
Tom looks at the car rental receipt.
Okay.
Jack uses his pen as a pointer to show Tom the forum's tiny box in the upper left marked accumulated mileage, where they've typed in the distance as 680 miles. 680 miles, to which Jack comments,
It amazes me that the mileage is exactly the distance between the Los Angeles airport and Gertrude McCabe's house and back.
I was in Las Vegas, Detective.
But as Jack has personally road tested himself, if Tom had driven to and from Las Vegas, as he claims, round trip, he'd only have accumulated 460 miles. But on his rental car contract, Tom agreed he had driven 680 miles, the distance to and from Gertrude McCabe's house in San Jose. And turning the legal pad around so Tom can follow along, the interrogator simply shows him the math. Leaning in close and lowering his voice, Jack explains that when you compare the distance, starting from Los Angeles,
The round trip to Las Vegas is 220 miles closer than San Jose.
which, according to Tom, comes from driving up and down the Las Vegas Strip.
You would have had to have driven up and down the Strip 84 times to make up the difference.
I got lost driving back to LA.
I was tired. I was actually falling asleep at the wheel, and I accidentally pulled down a country road. I found a bird town named Atola or Atoya, something like that.
That totally explains it. I wish you'd have said that before. How far up the road is this little town? Atola? Atolia. How do you spell that?
Look it up, Detective.
Charlie Vaughn knocks twice on the door, which is immediately opened by the deputy standing guard. Attorney Charlie Vaughn grabs his briefcase and admonishes Jack Morris.
Unless you're planning on rearresting my client, he walks in 2 hours.
And when he gives Tom's shoulder a single firm tap,
Let's go. Yep.
the suspect flattens both hands on the table, stands, and exits, inevitably a free man. A few minutes later in the other room, sitting at that blank screen, like any reasonable woman, Jane's still pretty shook up when Detective Morris returns. Folder in hand, as he passes her, he softly bumps a fist to her shoulder, then sits on the surface of that other desk, his knees about 2 feet from Jane, who is angry, no, livid, by what she had just witnessed on the monitor. And through tears of vengeance, she forces a sarcastic smile.
At least he really cares about my feelings.
And sharing her sarcasm, the interrogator, who doesn't say much, nods his agreement.
He's that kind of man.
You think you know someone your whole life, and one morning you wake up to the devil.
They're gonna let him go. And you have to be more careful than ever.
To say the wheels of justice grind slowly is a platitude. Several years have passed with no change in the case. During this time at San Jose Courthouse, Judge Valerie Ritt has taken a leave of absence, and in the judicial rotation roster, Junior, the Honorable Irvin Thomas has been assigned. And one day in the summer of 1992, Jane finds herself mulling over Tom's tall tale about getting lost while driving from Las Vegas to LA. How does that happen? This guy drives all over Nairobi, Amsterdam, and Cairo, but coming from Las Vegas, he can't find LA? It's like falling off a ladder, unable to find the ground. It's several years before resources like Yelp and Google Maps. And while trying to locate the city of Atola, Jane makes use of what's available in 1992. A pen, a spiral-bound notebook, that big AAA map on her wall, a telephone, and the better part of a day spent calling around to regional chambers of commerce and directory assistance for the area codes covering locations between LA and Las Vegas.
It's Atola. Atola. Anything. Attolla. Anything. It's a town.
There is an Atola listed in San Bernardino County, but calling the Hall of Records, she keeps getting put on hold, and while they can verify that such a town exists, ultimately, no one can tell Jane what goes on there. And using directory assistance, Jane's unable to locate any type of business that a lost LA-bound motorist might need. No listings for gas stations, a grocery store, or even a donut shop. When she checks her wristwatch, it's already time to start getting ready for work, and she closes and puts aside her notebook and pen. To be continued. 2 days later in San Jose, at the office of the district attorney, ADA Joyce Saldano gets a call from Jack Morris saying San Jose PD just uncovered a filing error of one of their crime scene photos. It's just one picture, but Jack thinks it's significant. Good. Joyce loves updates. The more info, the better. She files an addendum with the court, then formally notifies defense counsel Charlie Vaughn and his client, Tom O'Donnell. Atolia. Oakland, California, 1:15 a.m. at the Theodora Rest Home, and as the night receptionist, Jane Alexander nears the end of her shift, she thinks about the town of Atolia, California. Another cable car ride home, another walk down that creepy old alley, and as she approaches her apartment building, the police motorcycle parked out front is a welcome sight. A brief stop at the building's community mailbox. She removes bills and junk mail, and not feeling like walking up a flight of stairs at nearly 2 o'clock in the morning, she instead hits the up button, waits, and steps into the elevator alone. She starts looking at her mail. She thinks about Atolia. But when the door is open and she starts walking down the hall, it's obvious something bad happened here on this floor. And as a uniformed officer passes her, up ahead she can see the yellow crime scene tape. And it's her own apartment, currently populated by about half a dozen or so San Francisco PD. Her place is in shambles, everything a mess. It's chaotic disorder, similar to the crime scene of her Aunt Gertrude. Ripped off the wall, her AAA map lies wrinkled on the couch. Food and dishes thrown everywhere, furniture upended, picture frames broken. Bits of shattered glass and other debris litter the floor, and one of her 2 windows has been boarded up with wood. Her dining room table tilted on its side, being inspected closely by a plainclothes cop and a skinny uniformed officer, both crouched down, sifting the evidence. And when the plainclothes detective looks at her, she instantly recognizes Detective Jack Morris, causing her head to flood with relief and panic. How did Tom know she was here? She never told him where she lived. How could he have found her so fast? Oh my God,
what happened?
Someone broke in. One of your neighbors heard noises, called 911. I put you on a watch list with the San Francisco PD. I came as soon as they called.
Is it Tom?
No.
He leans in close.
It's not Tom.
Speaking with a measured, confident tone.
I called his parole officer in San Diego. He's right where he should be. This is a random event.
And what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do now? What am I supposed to do? God.
Jane, you called me with some information.
Yeah, the town, Atolia.
Atolia. Jack smiles reassuringly.
Atolia is a ghost town. I talked to the sheriff. No one's lived there for 40 years. Tom probably found a map in the prison library and calculated how far he had to drive to make up the mileage on the rental car.
I guess if you lie enough, then sooner or later, one of those lies is going to catch up with you.
I've already got Joyce issuing an arrest warrant.
But defense attorney Charlie Vaughn interdicts, arguing that one of their alleged conspirators, Henry Carmichael, is undergoing chemotherapy, and since the suspect, Tom O'Donnell, has served 9 months on a related case, the tenacious defense attorney requests suspending Tom O'Donnell's incarceration until Henry Carmichael is able to testify. The assigned judge, Her Honor Valerie Ritt, takes pity on the terminally ill witness, and in granting Tom O'Donnell a continuance of 6 weeks, she wishes poor Henry Carmichael all the best with the terrible struggle that lies ahead. 2 months pass, and Charlie Vaughn once again applies for another delay on similar grounds, the lack of availability of witness Henry Carmichael. And again, the main suspect, Tom O'Donnell, is granted another stay of incarceration, this time for 8 weeks, and repeatedly using the ailment of Henry Carmichael to his client's best interests. The defense attorney is able to keep Tom O'Donnell out of jail for nearly a year. However, in September of 1992, Judge Valerie Ritt takes an indefinite leave of absence. Now, the newly assigned Judge Irvin Thomas has had opportunity to review the state's case against Thomas O'Donnell, and specifically the newly discovered crime scene photo previously misfiled by San Jose PD. the suspect's current continuance is nullified, and on Friday, October 30th, 1992, the order is issued and the warrant for Tom O'Donnell's arrest is signed by Judge Thomas. On their way out of the courthouse, when asked if she wants to witness Tom O'Donnell's actual arrest, Jane nearly shrieks, yes. And so it is, in accordance with Jack's instructions. She meets him in her driveway the following morning at 7 a.m. They drive to San Francisco Airport, quickly make their way through the blue corridor reserved for police, celebrities, and diplomats. And by 11 a.m., they're in one of San Diego's more affluent residential neighborhoods, sitting in one of the city's unmarked squad cars, parked in the driveway of an unoccupied house. Detective Morris and Jane Alexander watch the single-story house across the street as a San Diego PD squad car pulls up to the curb, while a second cruiser with its lights flashing silently pulls into the driveway, blocking escape of a square-shaped dark green Volvo hatchback. In front of the house, exiting the first cruiser, two uniformed officers cross a well-landscaped front yard, and when they reach the welcome mat, the elder of the two knocks on the front door, as additional cops stand guard at each corner of the property. Meanwhile, in the unmarked squad car, Detective Morris and Jane Alexander watch as the door is open, and when an attractive 50-something blonde answers the door, they can clearly see Tom O'Donnell inside the house directly behind her. Across the street, Jane Alexander listens as the investigator explains what they're seeing.
They've been living together for months. He met her online using a computer in the prison library.
There's a brief conversation between Tom and the elder officer. Compliantly, Tom O'Donnell turns around with his hands behind his back, and handcuffs are applied.
You told her he was an investment banker.
That's how he can afford the fancy lawyer. He found another one as pathetic as me.
The pathetic one is in handcuffs.
They watch as one of the officers puts a hand on Tom's head, safely guiding their detainee into the back seat of the squad car before buckling his seatbelt and swiftly closing the car door. And by 2 p.m., escorted by Detective Jack Morris, the accused, Tom O'Donnell, is on an American Airlines flight back to San Jose, where he is booked and held at Santa Clara County's main jail complex, located at 150 West Herring Street, San Jose, California, 95110. There, he surrenders his clothing, shoes, belts, and accessories in exchange for an orange short-sleeved jumpsuit, a toothbrush, a blanket, and pillow. 2 days later, in courtroom 5A, interested parties Jane Alexander and Detective Jack Morris sit in the gallery watching the proceedings. Defense attorney Charlie Vaughn has just requested his client, Tom O'Donnell, be released on the grounds that their witness, Henry Carmichael, is unavailable. A visibly frustrated prosecutor, Joyce Saldano, addresses Judge Irvin Thomas.
Your Honor, just how many continuances is Mr. O'Donnell going to receive? This is the 5th one.
This is a murder case, Your Honor. The defense needs time to prepare.
Mr. O'Donnell is stalling. His alibi witness, his pal, Mr. Carmichael, has cancer. Mr. Carmichael is afraid I'll slap him with perjury when he's called in to testify. Mr. O'Donnell is stalling until Mr. Carmichael dies.
Well, if that happens, we'll proceed without Mr. Carmichael's testimony. Until then, Mr. O'Donnell will remain in jail.
As the courtroom clears, the detective requests Jane Alexander return with him to his office. And about 15 minutes later, up on the second floor, they approach Detective Morris's desk, and after removing a light green file folder, he closes his briefcase, bends over and puts it down carefully on the floor between his desk and a canary yellow file cabinet. He stands up straight, glances at Jane, and when he tilts his head to the side in a follow me gesture, she accompanies him to the center of the floor where an enormous square-shaped table, or more like a group of tables pushed together, is covered with notebooks, photos, documents, diagrams, and various evidence, or copies thereof, all spread out haphazardly like random thoughts, chaotic yet readily accessible and conducive to at-a-glance brainstorming in their case against Tom O'Donnell. And among all this clutter, Jack pauses near a small stack of 4x7-inch photos, and judging from the edge of the stack, maybe a dozen or so pictures. Jane recognizes the photo on top as her Aunt Gertrude's old wooden desk with its drawer open beneath that thermometer on the wall. The desk's open drawer and the conspicuous absence of Gertrude's checkbook.
I know you've had a long day, and I'm not going to keep you here any longer than I have to. But there's something I have to show you.
Thinking back to that terrible day, her walkthrough of the crime scene, she remembers her outburst when asking the bald guy, that first detective, Romer,
Where's her checkbook? There's supposed to be checkbook. She always paid with check.
And here, now, on the second floor of San Jose PD, while gesturing to the stack of photos on the table before him, Detective Morris confirms.
These are the original photos taken at the crime scene.
Originally taken at the crime scene? And Jack opens that light green folder he's been carrying and removes a slightly larger 8.5 by 11-inch crime scene photo of that same open drawer. And this image does show the checkbook, as the detective explains.
This picture was misfiled, taken by a second photographer later that day.
A second photographer later that day? Why does that sound? And then she recalls that police photographer saying he had to leave to cover some traffic mishap that was causing a backup.
But detective, they just called. I gotta go shoot a car accident blocking the freeway. I'll be back later.
This picture was misfiled.
She listens to Jack Morris, now gesturing with a larger photo.
Someone put the checkbook back in the drawer while you were still in the house. Where was Tom?
Where was Tom? Tom was right there with... Oh, wait. Concentrating on that exact moment in time, it occurs to her Tom did leave briefly, and she remembers his exact words.
I'm on to the restroom. It was a long drive.
At one point, he excused himself to go to the bathroom.
Unbelievable. This guy's a piece of work. He put the checkbook back in the drawer, not knowing the desk had already been photographed.
Why would he do that?
Because he knew the estate, the big money, would be tied up with the homicide. He wanted to know how much cash Gertrude had on hand.
He was desperate for money. That's why he killed her.
Hang on.
Quickly walking to his desk, he lifts the phone receiver to his ear.
Morris. Henry Carmichael's dead.
Morris hangs up the phone.
Tom's attorney's demanding the right to a speedy trial.
The following morning at 8:30, in the enormous halls of the San Jose courthouse, Jane Alexander and her friend Evelyn Rogers sit waiting just outside courtroom 103. The stately architecture conveys a sense of permanence, formality, and solemnity. Its expansive hardwood flooring is polished to a shine, as are the 44-foot-high walls made of Colorado Yule marble, occasionally punctuated with the comparably polished, rich, dark brown wooden doors to various offices, meeting rooms, and other courtrooms further down the hall. Further down the hall, from whence Jane spots Joyce Saldano approaching, and they make eye contact, but at a distance too far to shout. Her battle dress uniform is a power red sport coat over a matching knee-length business skirt. And of course, Joyce wears her signature shiny black 2-inch heels, or she wears nothing at all. In murder cases of this nature, there are any number of strategic reasons the state would be against, or at least unlikely, to let a grieving relative from their own witness list take the stand. And in this case, Assistant District Attorney Joyce Saldano is no exception. At a small alcove off to the left, Joyce stops at a distance.
Jane.
And politely summons her plaintiff.
Can I speak with you, please?
With a quick nod to Evelyn, Jane stands and walks down the hall, where the prosecutor lowers her voice.
I'm concerned about you testifying. Tom's attorney has asked to see everything you've touched, every witness that you spoke to, and every letter you sent to the cops. He's coming after you, Jane.
I can handle it.
Look, circumstantial evidence is like playing chess with just the pawns. If your anger takes over, the defense will eat you alive.
About an hour later, speaking directly to the jury, the prosecutor begins her opening statements.
This is one of the most heinous crimes ever. The cold, calculated, and remorseless murder of Gertrude McCabe. The defendant, Tom O'Donnell bludgeoned her, stabbed her repeatedly, and when she wouldn't die, he strangled her. All so that the victim's niece, Jane Alexander, who had no knowledge of any of this, could inherit the estate and Mr. O'Donnell could enjoy the proceeds.
Speaking of Jane Alexander, currently out in the hallway waiting to be called, the prosecution's star witness paces back and forth nervously like a caged tiger, back and forth. And alongside this back and forth pattern of Jane's, her friend Evelyn sits on a wooden bench enjoying a sphere-shaped lollipop which graces the immediate area with the smell of strawberries. In the past 5 minutes, Jane's probably walked a quarter of a mile, and it's making her friend Evelyn feel anxious, or at least anxious enough to take the lollipop out of her mouth.
Would you stop, please? You're driving me crazy.
You're gonna have to chain me up.
You want to explain to me why they don't want you sitting in on the opening arguments?
Because they don't want any witnesses to be influenced by someone else's statements.
You know, maybe you should consider a career in criminal justice. It's really scary, but you're getting good at this stuff.
Maybe I should consider a career on a bomb squad, which would be saner than this. No thanks.
During this time, inside courtroom 103, prosecutor Joyce Saldano is wrapping up her opening statements.
2 hours before the body was found. The defendant was clever enough to dispose of the murder weapon and wear latex gloves. That alone proves premeditation. He plotted an elaborate alibi, which he later changed repeatedly when being interviewed by detectives. Our case is built on circumstantial evidence, and all of it points to the defendant, Tom O'Donnell.
The following Tuesday morning, Assistant District Attorney Joyce Saldano calls Margaret Wilson to the stand. A few opening questions establish the 43-year-old redhead is the niece of the accused, Tom O'Donnell.
Objection.
Married with no children, Margaret Wilson waits tables in the Haight-Ashbury district and has lived in the Bay Area all her life. Further questioning reveals that in 1981, Margaret and her husband Paul had invested $3,000 in one of Tom O'Donnell's dubious business ventures. Next, the prosecutor's direct focuses on a phone call Margaret received on the day of the 49ers-Rams football game. When asked, Margaret affirms the phone call was from Tom O'Donnell.
Tom said Gertrude had been murdered, and Jane was going to inherit her money. Then he was going to pay us back the money that we gave him to invest.
Marked Exhibit 3.
Joyce Saldano closes her file folder and hand carries it to the court reporter.
Let the record show that Tom O'Donnell made that call to San Francisco to his niece 2 hours before the body was found.
And as she returns to the prosecutor's table and takes a seat, defense attorney Charlie Vaughn stands while carefully reviewing his own open file folder.
When did you first hear your uncle mention Gertrude McCabe's death before her body was found?
Jane told me. Jane Alexander.
So you didn't report it to the police?
No.
This whole thing, the time of Gertrude McCabe's death, your uncle being the alleged culprit, all of this came from Jane Alexander.
Yes, she came to visit me at work.
And what was the reason for the visit?
Objection calls for speculation.
It establishes the underlying motive of the prosecution's star witness.
I'll allow.
She was looking into who killed her aunt.
At the defense table, Tom grabs a pen and quickly jots something down on his legal pad. Margaret Wilson answers a few more questions from attorney Charlie Vaughn, and she's excused. Meaning, as this is California, Margaret Wilson cannot be called back to testify without permission from the judge. During this time, about 250 miles northeast, at the office of Reno Life and Indemnity, independent insurance agent Daniel Niles tells his secretary Peggy he is not to be disturbed under any circumstances. Take a message, forge a signature, improvise, lie, and sidestep as necessary. He'll explain everything later. Peggy is a dynamite secretary worth every penny of her salary. But Daniel Niles, his mind is racing. He's on a roll, and he doesn't want to miss anything. Closing the door, he gets behind his desk, calls directory assistants, and asks for the number to San Jose PD.
Operator 851, city and listing, please.
Later that afternoon, less than a mile from San Jose PD, at the San Jose courthouse, the prosecutor calls Detective Jack Morris to the stand, who briefly testifies that the original detective on the case was Jacob Romer, who has since retired. The two investigators had worked together for several months, and the defense stipulates there are no anomalies in the transition from one detective to the other. With no more questions for the investigator, Joyce Saldana returns to her table as defense attorney Charlie Vaughn rises to his 5'9" frame.
Detective Morris, this was a difficult case, wasn't it?
Yes.
Wearing a silk necktie whose diagonal stripes match his dark gray suit, as well as his burnt orange button-down shirt. The 50-something clean-shaven defense attorney picks up another file folder and, opening it back onto itself, holds it like a clipboard as he slowly approaches the witness stand.
This was a difficult case. So difficult that you felt like you needed to seek outside help.
He holds the folder up at head level and looks at Judge Thomas.
Defense Exhibit 11, Your Honor. This is a report from the Behavioral Science Unit of the FBI.
The attorney hands the folder to the witness.
A report you requested. Would you read the underlined portion, please?
The detective puts on his reading glasses and complies with counsel's request.
The most likely motive for the murder of Gertrude McCabe was to gain the proceeds of her estate. Do not eliminate the possibility the killer is a woman.
Oh, Charlie Vaughn gestures at the report.
I'm sorry, one more time, the last piece there.
Do not eliminate the possibility the killer is a woman.
Which led you to suspect Jane Alexander?
Until I found out she was still in San Francisco at the time of the murder.
Providing your theory about the time of the murder is correct.
And turning his face to the group of 12 peers, Charlie Vaughn slowly approaches the jury box.
The body wasn't discovered for at least 24 hours.
Where he rests a casual hand on mahogany and lets his last statement hang in the air. The body wasn't discovered for at least 24 hours. He looks at Jack Morris, as do the jurors.
24 hours. Isn't that right?
Right.
And yet you continued to question her several times. Who gained financially from Ms. McCabe's death?
No one yet.
But that's only because the insurance company refused to pay, while Mrs. McCabe's house deteriorated because the estate was in probate. Now, how much was the estate worth at the time of her death?
Estimate, around $1 million.
And Jane Alexander was the sole beneficiary?
Yes.
1 million reasons to suspect the woman who is now your star witness.
Later that evening, good friend that she is, Evelyn shows up with a bottle of red, and Jane brings out 2 wine glasses and uses a corkscrew for its intended purpose. They both sit on the couch as Jane pours.
Nobody said anything, but I can tell from Joyce's face we're not doing so well.
Well, I hate to say that I agree with you, but I gotta say that I agree with you.
You're trying to pin this on me. And we can't even tell the jury I passed the polygraph.
Bewildered, Evelyn shakes her head.
Jane, how does anybody get through an ordeal like this? I mean...
As does Jane.
They don't. They take their poison 1 grain at a time.
And the 2 friends drink. The following morning on the steps of the San Jose courthouse, local KPIX news reporter Janelle Jackson speaks to a state-of-the-art TV broadcast camera.
We're awaiting the arrival of star witness Jane Alexander to take the stand. The defense has portrayed the victim's niece as a woman who tampered with witnesses, a woman bent on revenge.
About half an hour later, even though Joyce Saldana recommends against it, the final witness she calls to the stand is Jane Alexander, next of kin to the victim, Gertrude McCabe. After the witness is sworn in, the ADA asks about the last time Jane saw her aunt and the trauma 12 years ago of receiving that terrible phone call from San Jose PD about Gertrude McCabe being murdered. Concluding her direct, ADA Joyce Saldana gives her condolences to the grieving relative before returning to her seat at the prosecutor's table. Next on deck, defense attorney Charlie Vaughn also offers his condolences, then moves on to Jane's actions as an unlicensed private investigator.
Witnesses have testified that you made phone calls, tracked witnesses, collected evidence. What exactly is your training in criminal procedure?
I read a lot of books.
Sort of a self-taught Sherlock Holmes.
Objection. The jury can draw their own conclusions.
Sustained.
Defense attorney Charlie Vaughn slowly approaches the witness stand.
You were obsessed with this case.
I was determined to get justice for a woman who never hurt anyone.
Leaning against the wood grain, the defense attorney stands about 4 feet from the witness.
Mr. O'Donnell's niece, Margaret, whom you visited, knew you were out to get him.
Objection.
Agreeably, Judge Thomas nods to Joyce Saldano.
Sustained. Please, would you rephrase?
Did Mr. O'Donnell's niece know that you were out to prove that Mr. O'Donnell was guilty of this crime?
No. When I spoke with Margaret,
Jane chooses her words carefully.
I had no idea he'd mentioned the murder several hours before the body was found.
You were angry with Mr. O'Donnell for losing your money in investments.
No. At the time of my aunt's murder, I was unaware of his theft.
But you became angry, vengeful that your financial setbacks eventually cost you your house.
They weren't financial setbacks, Mr. Vaughn. Your client robbed me.
But your anger had to have fed this desire to see Tom O'Donnell behind bars.
Justice is fed by many things, common decency being one of them.
Again, Charlie Vaughn turns to approach the jury, making eye contact as he speaks.
Prior to her death, how much money did you borrow from Gertrude McCabe?
Prior to her murder, I borrowed $25,000.
Which you never repaid.
And now, from the perspective of the jury, Charlie Vaughn looks at the witness.
So once she died, you were...
He shrugs theatrically.
Off the hook.
I tried repeatedly to repay her, but she wouldn't take it, so there's no hook, right? And I was never on one.
You were desperate for money.
After Tom O'Donnell stole my money, I had to take care of myself, as any sane person would do.
Motion to strike is non-responsive, Your Honor.
You asked about a financial state of mind. Overruled. Continue.
The attorney approaches the witness box as he speaks.
So you were not motivated in any way by anger or revenge?
Anger will kill you. And revenge isn't justice.
Joyce Saldano stands up.
Your Honor, the defense has exhausted this line of questioning, not to mention the entire courtroom.
We'll take a noon recess. When we return, Mr. Vaughn, you'll move on.
A few minutes later, out in the hall, as he exits the men's room, Detective Morris's cell phone rings.
Hello. Yeah, this is Morris. Yes, sir, I'm the detective on the McCabe case. I'm at the courthouse, room 103. Can you get that to me? I'll be here.
Meanwhile, in the courthouse cafeteria, sitting at a formica table large enough for four, Joyce Saldano, Jane Alexander, and Evelyn Rogers assess the progress of their case. Jane has only a cup of coffee.
It pains me to say it, but his lawyer is really good.
Evelyn enjoys boneless chicken with mashed potatoes.
Well, they should be for what Tom's new sweetie's probably paying him.
Taking a sip from her coffee,
You're doing great up there, Jane.
Joyce Saldano is halfway through her almond croissant.
Just stay vigilant. Keep your answers focused. He's trying to wear you down and trip you up.
The three women finish up and leave the cafeteria early enough they don't have to hurry. And heading back to courtroom 103, they're greeted by Detective Jack Morris.
Remember, focus.
Who looks directly at the prosecutor.
I need to see you.
Hello to you, too. Joyce looks at Jane and Evelyn.
You guys, why don't you just go sit down?
Who go and take their seats in the gallery. And the attorney gives a nod to the investigator.
What's up?
This might help.
And he hands her a light green envelope, unsealed.
Good.
She puts down her briefcase, opens the envelope.
Because if the defense keeps attacking like they are.
Removes and unfolds the document, which consists of 3 pages stapled in the top right corner.
What's going to happen?
And as she begins reading, Joyce's surprise-o-meter spikes. She continues, then folds the document along its original creases, politely requesting Jack please not say anything about this right now.
Say anything about this right now. Thank you.
Walks into courtroom 103 and takes her seat at the prosecutor's table. 10 minutes later, once again, court is back in session as, resuming his cross of Jane Alexander, defense attorney Charlie Vaughn walks up to the witness stand.
Ms. Alexander, the police originally suspected you of committing this crime, didn't they?
Yes, they did, until the evidence pointed to Tom O'Donnell.
He hands her an open folder and points to the document on the left.
Would you please read the underlined portion of the FBI profile?
Do not eliminate the possibility the killer is a woman.
She hands it back to him, and he stares at her.
Pretty damning conclusion.
Well, it's just wrong, because he's the killer.
Once again, turning his back on Jane, Charlie Vaughn speaks to the 12 jurors and slowly walks toward the jury box.
How much money did you stand to inherit when Ms. McCabe died?
Gertrude McCabe was murdered.
Charlie Vaughn stops and looks back at Jane, then turns to face the jury.
A forensic accountant said it was $1 million. You really had no idea?
I'm not the one who put a dollar sign on her life.
Again, he approaches the witness box.
You told friends and police that you would do anything to convict Tom O'Donnell of this murder.
Originally, I told them I would do anything to clear his name. Then this evidence started piling up, and even a fool like me had to believe it.
You told police that in all the years you knew Tom O'Donnell.
He gestures at his client seated at the defense table.
You never met a kinder man. That he never used an unkind word.
Yes, that's true. That's true. I was completely fooled by him.
And then all of a sudden, this gentle, generous man turns into a cold-blooded killer?
Yes, he did.
Turning around, Charlie Vaughn once again faces the jury, gesturing as he speaks.
I'm sorry, Miss Alexander. It just doesn't seem plausible.
And he approaches the judge.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
And drops the FBI profile before him on the bench.
The defense rests.
And as the defense attorney returns to his seat, Joyce Saldano removes the stapled pages from that light green envelope.
Miss Saldano, does the prosecution want to re-examine the witness?
Briefly, Your Honor.
Saldano stands up.
I'd like to submit
And when she approaches the bench,
this document that I've just received
Saldano brings receipts.
as evidence.
And then Charlie Vaughn stands up.
Objection. Permission to approach the bench.
As Vaughn walks up, Judge Thomas hands him the stapled forms to review.
Your Honor, the defense was not given proper notice.
And with one glance at the forms, Charlie Vaughn is instantly clear on the concept, as is Judge Thomas.
Overruled. I'll allow.
Thank you, Your Honor. Miss Alexander,
The prosecutor hands the witness the stapled 3 pages.
this document was just given to me by Detective Morris a few minutes ago.
Jane glances at Jack Morris, who looks straight ahead, stoically avoiding her gaze. And on the witness stand, as the San Francisco native scans the cover sheet from top to bottom, with a touch of revelation, probably involuntarily, her mouth forms an "oh." Then, remaining in place, Joyce Saldano turns around to face the jury.
Could you tell the jury, please, what is the document?
It's a life insurance policy.
At the defense table, the accused sits up with a new sense of concern, as, speaking with a soft tone, the prosecutor inquires about this life insurance policy.
And who is the insured?
I am.
And what is the amount?
$1.5 million.
The witness looks at Joyce Saldano. Then about 20 feet to her left, at the defense table, Jane sees Tom O'Donnell rubbing his lower lip. Joyce begins walking towards the jury box, politely avoiding eye contact, looking down thoughtfully as she speaks.
Did you take out that policy?
No, I didn't.
And is that your signature?
No.
The witness studies the signature carefully.
No, it looks a little like it, but I've never seen this before.
From Jane's perspective, the judge is to her left, and the jurors are in front and to her right, and Joyce now stands at the far side of the jury box.
Could you please tell the court whose name is there as the beneficiary?
At the witness stand, Jane flips back to the third page and looks closely at the appropriate box.
Tom O'Donnell.
And as Tom looks at her right there in the courtroom, furious, Jane stares right back at him.
Jack was right. You were gonna kill me next.
The following Monday morning at 10 a.m., the jury begins its deliberations on the guilt or innocence of the accused, Tom O'Donnell. And in less than 1 hour, the jury returns what is quite possibly the fastest verdict in history. Judge Thomas calls an early lunch, and upon their return, the jury is summoned one last time to read its verdict.
All rise.
Please be seated. Now, in the matter of the People versus Thomas J. O'Donnell, and the sole count of murder in the first degree, how do you find?
We, the jury, find the defendant, Thomas O'Donnell, guilty.
Mr. O'Donnell, given the time that it has taken to bring this case to justice, and the jury has found you guilty, do you have anything to say for yourself?
Yes, Your Honor.
Standing up, Tom O'Donnell plants hands on his hips.
The FBI report said the crime was committed by someone timid, someone inexperienced. Understand me, I was raised in Montana. I know how to hunt and kill. I've killed deer, elk, bear, and I know how to do it with a gun, knife, or stick. If I wanted to kill Gertrude McCabe, I'd do it right, clean and fast. Not like some pathetic amateur.
If O'Donnell thought this speech would mitigate or in some way lessen his punishment, he is as mistaken as he is guilty. As for the prosecutor's star witness, a few bureaucratic formalities, and about an hour later, Jane and her friend Evelyn are approaching the building's exit when, behind, they hear someone call out.
Miss Alexander?
Jane stops, as does Evelyn, and they turn around to see a friendly, 50-something heavyset woman with short red hair and a sincere smile. She wears a pale blue long-sleeve blouse with her purse's leather carry strap draped over her left shoulder. The laminated badge clipped to her blouse's collar reads Juror, evidently worn with pride, and she specifies.
I'm juror number 4, and I just want to tell you that I prayed every night for you to survive on that witness stand. I am so happy for you.
Leaning in close, Jane gives her cheek a grateful kiss, and after shaking hands warmly,
Thank you.
juror number 4 takes her leave.
Need a police escort?
And approaching from the other hallway, if it isn't the interrogator who doesn't talk much. Jane and Evelyn smile, and so does Jack Morris. And of course, Jane's got to ask.
Okay, where'd you find the policy?
Had a phone call from a guy named Daniel Niles, insurance broker.
I'd like to clear.
Looking dapper in his dark blue suit and tie, Jack Morris stands up straight, symmetrically relaxed, with an aw-shucks tilt of his head and both hands resting comfortably in his pockets. He explains how he got a hold of that life insurance policy on Jane Alexander.
Insurance broker, Daniel Niles. He sold a policy to Tom O'Donnell for $1.5 million with your name on it. He was watching the case, put 2 and 2 together. Me? I answered the phone.
No, you saved me.
No, you saved yourself. But then again, that's why I make the big bucks.
Evelyn cracks up, as does Jane. Exiting the building, as they try to walk down the courthouse steps, Jane is swarmed by reporters eager for the story.
Miss Alexander! Miss Alexander!
Whoa, Jane's never had a mic shoved in her face. Weird, but under the circumstances, not inappropriate.
Miss Alexander, are you happy with the verdict?
Justice was served. Nothing's gonna bring back my aunt.
The defense portrayed you as a spurned woman bent on revenge. How would you describe yourself?
Jane thinks for a second.
Moral. You borrow $50, you pay it back. You kill someone, you go to jail.
Thank you. Miss
And
Alexander.
politely continues down the stairs. In the next few weeks, through no fault of her own, Jane has become a local celebrity for her tenacity and 13 years of experience with her own investigation and the criminal justice system. And one brisk September Friday evening at the Embarcadero's Pier 41 terminal, as planned, Jane sits on an outside bench watching as the 7:30 ferry arrives right on time. Glad she thought to bundle up warm, she wears her dark brown trench coat with its zip-in lining over a maroon turtleneck. She watches the passengers walk down the gangway, then slowly disperse throughout the parking lot, surrounding garages, cafes, and sidewalks. Then across the parking lot, she spots a 60-something Caucasian man carrying a manila envelope. Nicely dressed, also bundled warm, he wears a dark gray sport coat over a subdued yellow V-neck sweater, revealing a white button-down business shirt underneath. Receding silver hair crowns a kindly, square-shaped face. His thick glasses with large black frames protect considerate green eyes.
Miss Alexander?
Yes.
As he approaches, Jane stands up and the two smile and shake hands.
Lyle Sanders.
Hi.
Thanks for taking this meeting with me.
His conservative, neatly groomed mustache is as gray as his hair, though no thicker than that of a high school student.
I read about what you did, getting justice for your aunt.
I only hope if I was murdered, someone would do the same for me. So tell me about your sister.
Well, her husband shot in the kitchen of the house. He claimed that the gun went off accidentally, and the police closed the case in 4 days.
In watching the man as he speaks, Jane listens attentively.
4 days. They ruled it was an accident. What they didn't know was that she inherited a large sum of money from our parents and was scared to death of her husband.
How long ago did this happen?
It was 12 years ago.
12 years, so just after the murder of Gertrude McCabe. He gives her the envelope.
Here's the police file.
I'll call you as soon as I read it.
Thank you. Thanks.
And with a sense of relief,
thanks a lot,
Lyle Sanders departs. Sentenced to 15 years to life, Thomas J. O'Donnell completed his sentence in 2010 when he died in prison. Conversely, Jane Alexander co-founded the victims advocacy group Citizens Against Homicide to fight for the families of murder victims. In the years that followed, Jane helped solve 20 murders, and at last count, Citizens Against Homicide boasted no fewer than 5,000 members in all 50 states. Sadly, in October of 2008, Jane Alexander was diagnosed with an extremely aggressive kidney cancer, and just a few weeks thereafter, she passed away on December 14th, 2008. She was 86 years of age and survived by her 6 children, 12 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren at the time of her death. This concludes our audio adaptation of the movie Citizen Jane, based on the true crime novel of the same title by author James Delassandro. Directed by Armand Mastroianni, the TV movie Citizen Jane premiered on the Hallmark Channel on September 12, 2009. The role of Jane Alexander was performed by Ali Sheedy. The victim, Gertrude McCabe, was played by Patty McCormick. Detective Jack Morris was played by Marvin Lee Aday, better known by his stage name, Meatloaf. Detective Jake Romer was played by John Polito. The prosecutor, Joyce Saldano, was played by Anne DeSalvo. Jane's friend, Evelyn Rogers, was played by Nia Peoples. The witness, Margaret Wilson, was played by Eileen Gruba. Defense attorney Charlie Vaughn was played by Robert Curtis Brown. The murderer, Thomas J. O'Donnell, was played by Sean Patrick Flannery. Judge Irvin Thomas was played by Chuck McCann. and Assistant District Attorney Adam MacArthur was played by Andrew Patrick Ralston. This 2009 made-for-TV movie featured the music of composer Rob Mounsey. Converted to audio drama in the fall of 2025 at Project Wasabi Studios, Hollywood, California, 90028. Subsequent narration, editing, and sound effects produced by Brian Newberry. Music to the TV show Dallas, written and performed by Gerald Immel. Theme to the TV show Love Boat, melody by Charles Fox, lyrics by Paul Williams, and performed by Jack Jones. Project Wasabi is grateful for the additional background music provided courtesy of YouTube Creative Commons and performed by the following skilled musicians. The music This Little Light of Mine, performed by Ease Jammy Jams. Present Standard by Silent Partner. Surprise in Paris by Dan Hennig. St. Gary by John Dealey and the 41 Players. Hitchcockian by Sir Cubworth. Mario Bava Sleeps, performed by Chris Zabriskie. True Art, Real Affection Part 2, performed by Noir et Blanc Vie. Last Cappuccino in Rio by Chris Haugen. Brother Jack by J.R. Tundra. And the music currently playing, Chances by Silent Partner. If you enjoyed this audio drama, we hope you'll share it on social media. For other free audio dramas, as well as non-fiction documentary podcasts, visit us on the web at projectwasabi.com. On behalf of Project Wasabi, I'm Brian Newberry saying thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you soon.